You're giving advice to someone, right? They want to do a trail. They don't have anyone to do it with. What kinds of questions should a person ask a stranger to make sure that it's a good fit?
I actually asked these questions of my current boyfriend before we went on our first date. So I was like, what's the biggest mileage day you've ever done? What's the longest number of hours you've hiked? Not trying to
Is this guy a hiker?
He's been through hiking the PNT.
Okay. Imagine it's just a random guy you meet in town. So how many miles do you hike?
Yeah, sorry. This is a Tinder conversation, but he's a section hiker on the PNT. But asking kind of these maximum questions, what exactly are you looking for in this hiking partnership?
Welcome to Backpacker Radio, presented by The Trek, brought to you by LMNT. I'm your co-host, Zach Badger Davis. Sitting to my right is...
I am Juliana Chauncey, a.k.a. Chaunce.
I feel like I'm in a cockpit right now with the second screen.
Oh, yeah, you got a lot of tech going on in front of you.
I'm going to come.
So basically, he got this for himself just so that he could play these clips.
Wait, there's one in here that made me laugh.
When I shit, I make sure my right butt cheek is fully splayed to the right. My left butt cheek is fully splayed to the left, full open.
Yeah, so for the internet listening, this is a plug for YouTube to watch us there. But also just, if you start to hear more of these clips, it's because Zach now has easier access to them.
I think I strained my back trying to turn the dial.
We're in for an episode. And with that, my beer. Going well for me. This episode's going well for me.
Nice. All right. I definitely won't stop that, so I won't promise that. But a few reminders before we get to today's lovely interview. First is, if you're taking on a long-distance trek in 2026 and you want to be part of the baddest team in the backcountry, we would love you to apply to be a trek blogger and or vlogger. This grants you access to a private community of thru-hikers, gear hookups, especially for the vloggers. You get to be Jess Stone's best friend. We signed off on that. And we will fly one person out to join us right here on the podcast toward the end of the year, as we recently did with Stitches. The feedback on Stitches episode has been exclusively positive. Not surprising, but I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah, the post that we put up today for it seems to have blown up.
Oh, I didn't even see.
Well, when I got a break from work and I went to accept the collab request, there was already 7 reshares.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me was
so 7 reposts, 6 share little paper plane emojis.
Yeah.
About 400
6
likes.
6 circles, 7 paper airplanes.
All that to say people really like it.
Rock, paper, scissors. Good. So yeah, we're going to run that magic back toward the end of 2026. So hit us up. Kind of in the same line, this is the last call to apply for Trail Correspondence for our 5th season, bringing this back. Very excited about this podcast. If you want to be a part of this popular podcast that gives you an intimate look into the world of thru hiking through your voice, definitely apply now and apply very soon because, like I said, very much last call here. Next is, you already mentioned YouTube, but I'm going to say it in my own voice, YouTube.
Yes, we are on the visual web.
Yeah. Comment, subscribe. At the very least, subscribe. This will ensure that you see future episodes. Helps us out in the algorithm. But yeah, we're making efforts to be a little bit more visual for you. And by visual, I mean loading the table with as much cheese as possible. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. If you're not on YouTube, you're missing 7 blocks of cheese on this table with
Yeah.
very little explanation, honestly.
Yeah. I got a little bit of the background. I got a DM couple weeks ago probably, so yeah, excited to dive into that. But YouTube, hit us up. Last but not least, if you guys enjoy the show and you want to support us, you can do so patreon.com/backpackerradio for as little as $5 per month. Still haven't raised the rates. You can support us in making this magic happen, and you get every episode advertisement free. Chance, what else do you want to say?
I would say it's probably less than each individual block of cheese on this table per month. Each block of the cheese on this table is probably more than 1 month of Backpacker Radio ad-free on Patreon, which means that just looking at the cheese on the table, that's 7 months of ad-free Backpacker Radio.
Yeah, unless Fancy Feast got that out of the clearance rack or something, in which
Hiker
case...
box right next to where she got the Fancy Feast.
Yeah, we'll be farting it up in here either way.
This one says Best by 7/29/26, so they look like they're still pretty primo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would imagine that any one of these is at least $7.99.
For sure.
And you know it's not $7.99?
a month of Patreon support.
That's right.
Backpacker Radio.
So.
Yeah, that's well over a half a year of support.
Yes, you can call it the cheese tax, and it can be your Backpacker Radio subscription. And if your significant other who you're married to sees it on the bill and they think, what's that? You could just say it's the cheese tax.
Mm-hmm.
And it should need no further explanation, really.
The plus of cheese as opposed to Patreon is Patreon doesn't take a cut. The only thing that's going to take a cut here is us cutting the cheese. No, there's a joke in there somewhere.
You can't get a tummy ache from too much Patreon.
True.
Your dog won't bother you because you're on Patreon.
Your dog won't leave diarrhea puddles
Yes.
at 4 a.m. because of Patreon.
Patreon has yet to be known to cause a diarrhea puddle. So,
We can find that limit one way or another.
yeah.
But yes, thank you to everyone who supports us. We love you very much. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this thing. Wait, I'm going to push another button. I love swallowing so much.
Wow, you did that to yourself.
A milk jug bath washed vagina.
I don't remember that one.
You recognize the voice.
Yes.
Say it.
No.
That's Mara.
Yes. It's been a while.
A milk jug bath washed vagina.
Yeah,
on,
that
that's-
is Mara.
That's the center of Wisconsin
yeah.
right there.
It's just been a while.
It's been a
You know when you hear a voice and you're like, I know that voice? And you just can't put your finger on it because you're given 5 seconds to think.
Yeah.
When you sweat, you lose a lot more than water. You're burning through sodium, potassium, magnesium, all the stuff your body needs to keep going strong on trail, thinking clearly, and sleeping well at night. That's why I'm a huge fan of LMNT. It's a zero-sugar electrolyte mix with a science-backed ratio that's heavy on sodium, which is exactly what thru-hikers and long-distance backpackers are losing all day long. No sugar, no junk, just what your body actually needs. When I'm backpacking, I'll usually drink one LMNT throughout the day and then have another packet before bed. It helps me rehydrate, keeps the leg cramps away, and I'll wake up feeling like $1,000,000. Another underrated benefit, LMNT makes those dodgy water sources actually taste good. If you've ever filtered from a silty creek, a cow tank, or some lukewarm pipe coming out of the ground, you know how clutch that is. It's not just an on-trail thing either. LMNT is my go-to hangover prevention tool. One packet before bed, another in the morning, and you wake up hitting the erase button on a night of bad decisions. My favorites are lemonade, raspberry, and citrus. A cold LMNT lemonade on a hot day tastes like absolute heaven. And the citrus works shockingly well as a no-calorie mix-in for a backcountry margarita, perfect while car camping, or the lazy version at home. Good news, Backpacker Radio listeners can score a free LMNT sample pack with any drink mix purchase by going to drinklmnt.com/thetrek. That sample pack includes citrus salt, raspberry salt, watermelon salt, and orange salt. 2 stick packs of each flavor, 8 total. No coupon code needed. Just use the URL. Again, that's drinklmnt.com/thetrek to get 8 free packets with any drink mix purchase. The deal is only available for a limited time.
Well, you'll know this voice if you're a longtime listener of Backpacker Radio because we were joined by Marla Davidson, a.k.a. Fancy Feast. Definitely the Hall of Fame, the Triple Crown, the Mount Rushmore of trail names. Fancy Feast made her infamous Backpacker Radio debut in 2021 after recovering a pair of my socks from a rock alongside the Colorado Trail. Since then, she has continued racking up trail miles, hiking the Oregon Coast Trail, Hayduke, Ice Age Trail, PCT, and CDT in 1 calendar year, and most recently, the Benton MacKay, Allegheny, and Mongolian Rim Trails. No, say it.
There's no N before the G. Mogollon. Mogollon.
I think some people say Mogollon and some people say Mogollon.
What do you say?
I was saying Mogollon, but I'm also not from there. The double L is definitely A.
Got it.
I like the MRT.
I'm going to say Mongolian because that's what my brain knows.
Yeah.
Great.
I think it's named after some mountains in Spain. Like some Spanish people came to the New World and they're like, those look like home. And they called that whole region.
Love that.
Yeah.
Fancy Feast is back. I know where I want to start. The last time I saw you, you were giving Chance bread dicks.
Yes.
Is that correct?
It was a bread penis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Balls and all.
Is there more to say to that than that?
This was at PCT days. We had hyped it up as my backpacking bachelorette. And Fancy Feast came and delivered. She brought me a box from Stehekin, from that bakery, right?
Mazama.
Yeah, Mazama Bakery. And it was a bread setup that was arranged to look like a penis. And it was delicious. So I'm very grateful.
Was it 2 cinnamon rolls and a baguette? What was the construction? Was that it?
Yeah, I had, actually there was 2 cinnamon twists, which was from a different bakery in the Metau, and then the baguette, the famous Mazama baguette, was the main shaft, and then 2 bagels from also
as opposed to the side shaft.
And they were sesame bagels, so they had a little texture.
Yeah.
Did I know that you were in the midst of hiking the PCT and CDT that year, or I guess this year still, technically speaking, for the listener? That's what the note says. It says PCT and CDT in a calendar year.
That was 2024.
Oh.
So last year.
Yeah, last year's. But we saw you at PCT days this year.
Yes.
You were hiking the PCT? You were just there for the hang?
I was working for the PNTA, so I had a weekend off,
Okay.
and I drove down to Cascade Locks to hang with y'all.
Okay. That
See, I assumed with the bread that you had come from just finishing the trail.
No, I was coming from living at the Northern Terminus, so right in that area.
Even cooler.
You also do a very good job, as Chance pointed out before we hit record here, of just portraying hiker trash lifestyle at all times. Because Chance asked if you came straight from the trail here, because you've got basically your 30-liter pack, it looks like, with a one of those accordion sleeping pads. That's just you ready for anything that life's going to throw your way.
I mean, the second principle of leave no trace is, actually that's travel claim. But number 1 is plan ahead to prepare. So that's I got my Neo Air X Lite. I've got sleeping stuff. It's a waterproof 20-degree pack in case there was some precipitation. I have, as you said, many blocks of cheese, so calories for days.
Yeah.
I did think I saw a full carrot.
Oh yeah, there are multiple carrots. You gotta keep your veggies.
So what's it going to take for Chance to crack one of these cheeses open and just bite right in?
Not much. Finish your beer.
Me finish my beer for you to eat cheese?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good trade-off.
Everyone wins.
Yeah, everyone wins. Okay, I want to do what's new, but for those who didn't hear your first episode, I would like to rehash the sock incident, because this was maybe one of my favorite moments in Backpacker Radio history.
Can we start with the trail name story? I know we did that on the last one, but it's just too good.
Those are the only 2 repeats we'll do here, and then let's start off with how you earned Fancy Feast.
Sure. I will say the timing of this, it's hard to recapture. So, I think I did a pretty good job last time. Maybe go back, skip past the ASMR with chicken wings, but, get to the part where I talk about my trail name.
We still have the hot sauce.
So, yeah, I was nameless for a while on the Appalachian Trail. My first, longer distance through. I was already, thinking about trail names, trying to commit to the hiker trash lifestyle. About mile 300-something, Hot Springs, North Carolina. I was doing the hiker trash thing, so I was doing a work for stay at Laughing Heart Lodge and Hostel. I was cleaning up the area. I was trying to live as cheaply as possible, which in my mind was using an alcohol stove. The one I had brought with me wasn't working, so I was searching, cleaning, came upon this beautiful box of labelless cans in the hiker kitchen. I was like, perfect. I know where the hole punch is. I know what to do with this. I know I can make a tuna salad. I can eat it. It's a little bit of a weird proportion, but we're going to go with it. So I whipped up a little salad. It smelled kind of interesting, but I had been vegetarian for so long up until that point that I didn't really know what the tuna market was like. I took a bite and I was like, oh, this might not be tuna for humans, but I'm already emotionally invested and ingredient invested. And one of my principles is that you do not waste food. So I ate the whole thing, and I got a little aggressive the hole punch. I made probably too many holes for the stove, and it the air intake didn't work. So I didn't even end up using it. And that was that. I continued doing those types of activities, and I didn't even take on the Fancy Feast name for a while until coming up on the pre-shelter. People are kind of rehashing their best stories for insertion into the priest logbook. And I was like, well, I did do this one time. And how are you not Fancy Feast? And on the spot, I was like, I'm adopting that. That is my trail name. It already covers my identity. We're going with it.
So how does cat food tuna differ from human tuna?
to my understanding, they add liver. So there is a slightly different flavor profile.
I mean, good nutrition.
Yeah,
Liver's...
great for your coat.
Yeah.
My hair's luscious, and thanks to all the fancy feast.
Yeah, your undercoat is really glimmering. But liver's also not the tastiest thing. People typically shy away from it because it tastes a little bit like ass.
Yeah, it's really strong metallic flavor. I do like cooking up liver and onions, but my secret, what I've learned, is that if you like rinse it in milk actually, and then rinse it in water,
You are a cat.
Yes, you are. It takes off some of the flavor and makes it a little bit more palatable. And then you bread it, and then there's lots of seasoning.
How did you learn that? It's trial and error of like, what can I dip this liver in to make it taste better?
I think it was an internet search thing. I was like, I know liver and onions are a thing that people eat, and I know that it's really healthy. And honestly, organ meat is super cheap for like getting really high quality meat products. You don't want to eat organ meat all the time because it's high in like cholesterol and some other trace things that you can overdose on.
I think it's vitamin A. It's got like...
Yeah, especially
overdose on vitamin A?
Yeah, it's a fat-soluble vitamin.
Don't eat dog liver. You will die.
The water-soluble vitamins you can take at astronomical dosages to an extent, but the fat-soluble ones can like literally kill you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a polar expedition that famously they thought they were feeding their friend like the fanciest part of the dog, the most nutritious, because they were sick, and actually they poisoned them by accident. So don't eat dog liver because it's excessively high in vitamin A.
Yeah.
But B vitamin, like that's water soluble. To my understanding, I'm no nutritionist, medical disclaimer insertion. I think you can have a lot of that.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's fun.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah. I feel like the sock story is going to just pale in comparison relative to that. But so the golden ticket that got you on the first time was I was doing, I think, like an overnight, maybe a couple days on the Colorado Trail. And I realized when I got home that I was missing a sock. And I think because it wasn't overnight, I knew exactly where I had camped. And I think I published the drop pin on Instagram. Is that how you recall it?
Mm-hmm.
So I published the drop pin of where I'd camped, felt very bad about leaving a trace. And what was the prize? Did I say that someone would come on the podcast if they recovered the sock?
No. You said you get some Organifi little packets and like $20.
Okay, at least there was some money in it. But yeah, I forgot about Organifi. Good. Well, I'm glad that missing sock incident brought you to us because that was a fun time. That's why you're here again.
I was just thinking that we didn't put the AT on the intro.
I think we talked about that last time, right?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you're just saying.
But
that.
I was just going through the trails in my mind.
Yeah. Okay, so you were on 21. Mm-hmm. Give us the first trail that you had hiked since being on the pod.
So I was en route at that point to the Arizona Trail. Like I already had tickets. I was flying from Denver down to St. George, I think. That went well. It made me fall in love with the Southwest even more. I'd spent 2020, the summer of 2020 during COVID in the Southwest in like northern New Mexico, but like it was more plains, like sagebrush and stuff. It wasn't cactusy, and my image of the Arizona Trail was like cacti. It was going to be like really steep vertical things because people talked about the elevation gain and loss, and I was honestly a little bit pissed the first 300 miles, excepting the Grand Canyon. It's mostly pinyon juniper forest and ponderosa. It's fairly mellow in comparison, but then dropped the Mogollon Rim, so like there's this huge like I forget how many 100 or maybe it's even 1,000 feet vertical difference as you're going southbound. You descend into what is effectively like southern Arizona. I think you're coming off the Colorado Plateau, but my geography could be a little bit skewed on that. After that point, I was like, this is the best trail ever. I've got my hiking legs. It was the longest I'd been out. Dry stuff it's so much easier, even if there are longer water carries, just to manage when you're not also dealing with precipitation, and it was cool.
So you went from the AT to the Arizona Trail, or did you have ones in between?
The year that I came on the pod, I was hiking the Pacific Crest Trail southbound,
Right.
and then had to get off for fires, hiked the Colorado Trail in
Right.
place of that, and then hiked the Arizona Trail.
So AT, some of the PCT in what might have been the most beautiful section, and the Colorado Trail, and you get on the AZT and you think this might be the best trail?
I really enjoyed the southern part of Arizona. I still think that the Colorado Trail, mile per mile, is the best bang for your buck. That's still my opinion.
I mean, I like the hot take that the Arizona Trail could be a contender of those guys, but
So you've given us a taste of that. I guess elaborate on why you think that is the best pound for pound.
It could also just be nostalgia. Like, I had such a yearning for the desert, like the spiny, rocky, like, I love exposed faces of rock. And so that's when that finally came to fruition, which was delayed because the northern part was not what I was imagining it to be. I was like, wow, this is so cool. I want to come back to the Southwest again and again. And that's why I've done 2 more hikes in the Southwest that I've really enjoyed.
Yeah. How does the AZT compare to like the desert section of the PCT for you?
I think it's spinier.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more pokey boys.
The AZT.
The AZT. Yeah, there's like little pincushiony cactus and stuff. There's not poodle-dog bush, which I ran into in the southern PCT. I think...
Did we talk about that last time?
Poodle-dog bush?
Yeah.
Well, I encountered it in 2024 because I
Okay.
hadn't been to that part yet.
Let's go there.
yeah.
Sure.
How much did that fuck you up?
A lot. I went to the hospital.
Whoa.
Wow.
Mostly because I didn't know what was going on and I was so nervous. I was like, why am I breaking out in hives? And in retrospect, I believe, like, I think I got it in my hands, and then hands just touch everywhere, especially as a dirty thru-hiker.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, like, putting chafing cream on here, and I'm eating my food. So, like, within a day, I was like, oh, my hands are really itchy. And then, oh, it's all over my thighs. Oh, it's in my mouth. Oh, it's all over my feet. What is going on? I thought I was
Did it get
having...
in your vajay?
No, thank God. It would have been miserable, but that was a close one.
Oh my God, when you said chafing cream. Ooh.
It got all over my thighs,
Did it
though,
get in your
inner
butthole?
thighs. No.
Good.
Thank goodness.
Sean's asking the hard-hitting questions.
I mean,
No,
that's if you're
it was
putting shaving
legitimate.
cream down
Yeah,
there with your
no.
hands, and that stuff spreads what it touches.
For sure. Were you not aware of what poodle-dog bush was, or like did you brush up on it and think that you were safe, and then that is what cascaded from there?
This is all retroactive reasoning because if I did touch poodle-dog bush, if this was in fact the cause, it would have had to be on San Jacinto because this popped up in Mission Creek, like Whitewater Preserve, at which point there weren't any comments in Far Out really warning about poodle-dog bush. Most of the burn areas are north of there, and it's a pioneer in burn areas in Southern California. It's a native species there. So, like, it wasn't really on my radar. I hadn't really figured out what it looked like, and no one else was talking about it either. Later on, there's a lot of comments being like, it looks like this. Avoid it here. There's a bush here. So, like, my best guess is I dropped my trekking poles in one of the really, really early burn areas.
Yeah.
Got it on my hands, spread it all around, freaked out.
Yeah.
Because it was scary. It was in my mouth, and I was like, oh my gosh, am I having an allergic reaction? I got some topical and some oral antihistamines in Big Bear, and that didn't seem to be doing anything. And then I was loopy from, like, the Benadryl. I switched to other stuff like Claritin, but by the time I got to Deep Creek Hot Springs, I was like, it's not stopping. I can't, like, if this is an allergic reaction, you probably shouldn't stay in the woods.
Right.
How many days is this?
It honestly, like, didn't take that long to peak and then start to subside. But in hiking days, like, if you're thinking about it, like, 24 hours, you're not up for 24 hours, but if you're thinking about it all your waking hours, like, wow, this takes a lot of mental time. Like, 3 days is a very long time if you're worried about a problem.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking, like, San Jacinto to Deep Creek to Big Bear to Wrightwood. That took me a while.
It manifested in Mission Creek, or like the night that I got to Mission Creek.
Yeah. Not
So,
Deep
like,
Creek.
I was at, went to my uncle's in Cathedral City. So it was like first day out, first night after that. It was when it manifested. And then Big Bear, I mean, I was doing mid-20s at that point because I can go into training montage. But, like, I was planning to do big miles this entire trail. So, like, got to Big Bear within a few days. I could look back at my records exactly. But then it wasn't that much longer to Deep Creek. And then from Joshua Inn. There was actually a really nice guy who worked there who drove me up to Victorsville, whatever the closest hospital was, where I was like, help.
Yeah.
So if Benadryl isn't the fix, what is the hospital doing to you?
Well, the hospital doesn't know what poodle-dog bush is, so
Oh,
they're
really?
not very useful.
Really?
I used the 3 hours of sitting in the emergency room because they said they cover emergency care but not urgent care for some reason. I spent that time just researching things and be like, what could this be? What could this be? Until I was like, oh, this is probably what it is. And then I had to convince them that it was real and convince them to give me topical steroids. Because the challenge of poodle-dog bush is that it's both a physical and like a chemical irritant. So it has like, not a spicule, but basically like a little hair that's, I think, silica. So these little hairs will catch in your clothing, and inside of that hair, it's more like a tube. It has the compound that's irritating you. So whereas stuff like, is it Rishiol? Whatever the thing is in poison ivy and poison oak, which is an oil, and you can wash it away to some extent with a special soap. These things, soap won't do anything. Like, you need to both physically like abrade it and like also chemically deal with it. It can get stuck in clothes for a really long time, is my understanding.
You just burn your whole outfit?
I just didn't do shit. I think it was maybe in my trekking poles, and maybe just like the amount of grime and sweat and mechanical wearing like eventually made it disappear. I really don't know, but it did clear up on its own with those topical things. But then they prescribed me doxycycline, which is a broad spectrum. You really?
Yeah.
Well, then you will not have to deal with this problem that I'm going to mention next, which is if you take doxycycline, it makes you really, really sensitive to the sun. And you can put sunscreen all over yourself, but you can't really get it on your fingernails. So I burned the shit out of my fingernail beds to the point where they were falling off because I was on this antibiotic and in the desert of the PCT.
I didn't know you could burn through your fingernails. That's
Me
crazy.
neither.
Neither did I.
Damn.
You'd think that there's like a protective shell there.
I think usually there is if you're just not on doxycycline.
Interesting. Yeah, doxycycline was interesting. I took it for something once, and it was day 9 out of 10 of the taper. And I almost got fucking through it. And on day 9, head to toe just broke out into hives.
Ooh.
Just everywhere. And I brought it up to them. I was like, hey, like, covered in hives. And they're like, oh, you must be allergic to it. We got to start all over with like a different antibiotic. Oh. So, but now I know. Mm-hmm. And I guess safer for me because I'm a ginger. So
I'm honestly surprised that there aren't more poodle-dog bush stories because, like, at least when I hiked southbound, it was overgrowing the trail. Like, you had to really make a strong effort to not touch it. I was aware of it. I think I learned from Cam Honan that he was hospitalized when he did one of his treks. So it was on my radar. But like you, I imagine that there's a lot of people that are just that's not on their radar. And with how prevalent it was, like, I just imagine there's got to be so many encounters. So I wonder if like a certain percentage of people are just immune to it for whatever reason, or like it takes you rubbing it into your thighs for you to actually have some sort of reaction. But yeah, I'm always surprised that I don't hear more poodle-dog bush stories.
Do you think that it was just our year? Because like my year, I remember hearing about it left and right in the desert. Like, watch out for poodle dog, watch out. And for the wedding, I had made the hiker table. Like, we had them all named after flowers. So my first iteration of the hiker table was poodle-dog bush, because I thought that was funny. Yeah. And then they were asking what it meant. So then I changed it to rhododendron, because that just makes more sense. But it just felt like other people that did the PCT didn't fear it the way that we did our year.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that, but I'm always shocked that there's not more of those stories. Because, like, you hear poison ivy all the time. Have you had poison ivy?
Yeah, actually, also went to the hospital for that.
So I was going to ask, which is worse in your experience?
So with poison ivy, this was with Vermont Youth Conservation Corps, and our task for 2 separate hitches, so 2 week-long hitches, was removing poison ivy from a riverside area so that we could promote boat access or river access in Vermont. And all the locals knew that there was poison ivy there, so no one was going to use it. Yeah. And for protection, they're like, oh, here's this special Technu, like the wash. You get to use this before and after you handle the plants, and also will increase your, like, weekly shower allowance. So great, thanks. And we were, like, ripping them out by the roots. And it was kids who were all like, well, I've never had poison ivy. I think I'm immune. And it took, like, into the second week, everyone was breaking out everywhere. Wow. To the point where we went, and like 5 of us out of the would that be 9 or so, got oral steroids from Dartmouth Hitchcock.
Damn.
One guy got it in his eyes, or one of our crew leaders got it in his eyes, and that made him temporarily not be able to see things.
Holy shit.
I feel like if my kid was like, hey, my youth conservation group's having me do this project this week, I'd be like, no, they're not. You're staying inside.
Yeah, that feels cruel.
Like if Leo was like, hey, Dad, Boy Scouts wants me to go remove all of the poison ivy by the creek.
Yeah, no.
Well,
I would have a reaction. It would be stronger than the poison ivy, too.
Well, with this program, you're basically the property of the Conservation Corps for 8 weeks. Like, you don't see your parents. You don't go home. You just hang out with them. All the days off, quote unquote, all the weekends, you're just sharpening tools and moving camp.
Damn. What, did they have any sort of remorse after making all these kids deal with poison ivy and get sick?
I don't know if they changed policy at all.
Yeah, that's fucking wild.
That's interesting.
So if you had to power rank, which experience is worse, the poodle-dog bush or poison ivy?
Well, poison ivy, at least we knew what was going on. It was really annoying, but like there's a known cure, there's no known like prescription, and everyone was suffering together.
Yeah.
And some people had it worse than me. So like, relative ranking. With the poodle-dog bush, it was also existential. I was like, I don't know what's going on with me. I was really scared that it was like, because it was in my mouth, that it was going to be like a histamine reaction. It was some sort of thing that could lead to anaphylaxis. And so it was the logistics of finding medical care for myself. Like,
having to instruct the medical care like what was going on.
Yeah, that was a lot scary. And the welts, like I've never had hives, but like they were definitely of a different quality, like these raised hot itchy bumps rather than the blisters of poison ivy, which are annoying, but like they're also indicative. You know what they are.
Does one feel more uncomfortable than the other?
The poison ivy is like very itchy. It's just itchy, and these ones were like hot and burning as well as itchy.
Yeah.
Like sometimes to make them hurt less, I would like rub my hands together really, really fast, and that would like kind of take away the itching for a little bit. Like I get them as so hot I couldn't stand them, and that would take away the itching a little bit.
Just lights herself on fire.
Yeah.
What a nightmare.
Just because we touched on the Vermont Youth Corps, there's one other bullet point that you had provided us for the show notes, which includes subsisting on moldy Panera bread donations, Sriracha as a vegetable, and the malnourishment of minors.
Yep.
Care to elaborate on that?
Like, I'm not trying to throw any particular conservation program under the bus. I think it's necessary work, but like the structure could definitely be rethought to prioritize the employee, and in this case, children, like minors, experience. So we were paid $360 a week, but then $60 was taken out for food, like things that we would buy. And then our crew leaders, who were trying to show how like fiscally responsible they were trying to buy as like make that stretch as much as possible, with us not seeing any of those financial benefits. So we go to Costco once a week and we buy like our allotment of stuff, which was mostly rice. We'd have like rice and beans pretty much every time for dinner. We'd make our own bread, which inevitably some kid would burn because we were cooking it over a Coleman stove. And then we'd have oatmeal, which again, someone would burn every single morning because they would try to cook the instant oatmeal in the pot rather than like hot water and then add the oatmeal. We also got Panera bread donations, which in retrospect, like we should have had enough money to buy real food. And we get like one bag of carrots a week and one sleeve of peppers for like everybody. So we try to make all this stuff stretch as much as possible. And our crew leader was vegan, which I am totally in support of like plant-based diets, but you have to be, especially with minors, especially with like very tall boys, like cognizant of the overall nutrition going on, and mostly rice with a little bit of beans just isn't going to cut it. So yeah.
How did Sriracha become a vegetable?
Because we could put as much Sriracha on our rice and beans as we wanted.
That was the luxury.
Because we ran out of, like, we'd have one bag of carrots and we have one bag of peppers, and once that's gone for the week.
I bet you eat better in prison. That sounds like, are they trying to scare you away from conservation? Like, that seems like they're not taking care of you. How old are you in this?
We were 16 and 17.
Okay.
The other crew, we were like, they get Oreos? They have ramen? Hot dang.
Well,
so
now
you're just in a bad crew then.
I mean, the crew kids were great.
Yeah,
and like
the leadership.
The leadership, like, the work ethic was definitely there. When it came to project management, it was pretty good. It just on the nutrition side for growing individuals was a little bit lacking in scope.
I feel like this provides some context where it's like now when I think about her taking the can of Fancy Feast and being like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Now it starts to make sense a little bit more because, it's starting to make a little more sense.
Better than Sriracha is my salad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we knew that it wasn't, but you got to trick your brain into like, you have this deep craving for vegetables. You're like, anything that even remotely approximates a vegetable, like I have to pretend like that's good for me.
How did this not turn you off to the outdoors? I'm surprised that you went from this and then into the Green Mountain Club and then into like everything else that you've done since, whereas someone could have an experience like this and be like, get me the fuck inside.
I think I'm a big believer in like taking very small, very known quantity steps. So like going from the VYCC where we didn't have control over our food to the Green Mountain Club where I'm like, wait, I can buy my own food. I just have to haul it on my back to my location, then I can have whatever I want, which is one of the reasons that I brought so much food to Montclair Glen Lodge my first season and why the bear got into the bear boxes, because it was loaded. It was this huge piñata of like lentils and shelf-stable plant-based milk and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, I have control over this. It was really exciting. It was a step up, but also a very known step that I could take because Vermont Youth Conservation Corps is kind of like 5 days on and then a weekend off, but not even really. So now I'm moving to somewhere where, yes, I'm in the woods for 5 days. Yes, I'm more on my own for those 5 days, but then I actually have a weekend. Like, hot damn.
Okay, go on about the bear story.
Yeah, so it's my first season. I think this happened around 4th of July. There's 2 overnight locations on Camel's Hump for long trail hikers, and then also people who are hiking some of the side trails that are staffed by Green Mountain Club people, as well as like a overseeing lodge couching line, which is down at the parking lot. So we're all spread out and we're all like doing trail maintenance in the ability that we're able to do solo. So like clearing water bars, painting blazes. We're alternating that with summit caretaking. Then overnight we're collecting fees at the shelter. So we're kind of self-contained. Like I'm the caretaker of Montclair Glen, but also like see other workers at the summit. There's other people on the mountain. So I'm like, okay, like it's a little bit interesting. I've never slept in a tent by myself before, even though the lodge was right next door. Like that was for guests. So like starting to feel out my own space, trying to establish routine, bringing up like abundant, delightful foods that I could make for myself. So I'm going to bed and I hear like some water spilling near my head. I'm like, I didn't think it was supposed to rain. And then I hear some snuffling and I hear a little bit of banging. I'm like, oh, geez. Because I have a deep-seated fear of bears. For some reason, watching Barney Goes Camping as a child, completely, there's like this bear that comes out of a cave and all the kids run away. And I had nightmares about black bears for like most of my childhood. So like there's this deep-seated thing that I've tried to overcome as a rational adult. But I poked my head out and I was like, those are green eyes and a snuffling snout, and that is 100% a bear. And it just looks at me, and I'm like, go away, bear. Like, you say in your strong voice, like, that's not your food. And he's like, oh, fuck you. So he takes what is not really a bear box. The Green Mountain Club has gotten so much better since then, but at this point, their idea of a bear box was a box that you put food in that is, it was an aluminum. So that is able to be gotten into by bear claws, and it wasn't chained down at all, which now they have steel ones that are like roped to trees and other stable structures. So it took my bear box and it started rolling it down a little drainage, and things started coming out like a little piñata. So I was like, oh, intermittent reward, I need to do this more to get more food. And so for like an hour later, it's just like bang bang bang.
It's like an enrichment activity.
Yeah. And so I'm like all shook up. I go and I take my stuff to the cabin. I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to sleep here tonight. Later I learned that this is not the first time that a bear has done this, or a bear has done this at this particular location. Like, it's kind of a known quantity. There was a wooden bear box at the site next door, which also, fun fact, not a bear box, also able to be gotten into by bears. That same bear like broke in while the caretaker was there, and she's like this little 5-foot-something lady she had her cast iron pan up just in case it came at her. So they ended up shutting down those locations for a little bit, and then they made everyone cook outside. We were doing that. I was up at like the summit one time, and a bear broke into the lodge because it smelled stuff inside Montclair Glen Lodge. Like it got into the door, which used to be like a 2x4 kind of horizontal with a thread that came through a hole in the door, and you'd like pull it down on the outside, and it would pull the 2x4 up on the inside. And so it let itself in, saw some food, actually saw my bear box. It was the same exact bear box, fun fact. Same aluminum bear box. It rolled it around, ate all the good stuff, accidentally rolled it in front of the door, couldn't get out, went, oh my gosh, at least this is my interpretation of what the bear did, took a giant shit on the bottom bunk, and then broke a window and let itself out. So like we were all in lockdown for a while. Moral of the story, the fishing game stood out with rubber bullets, like waiting for it to come back for a week. It was smart enough that it didn't. We started installing steel bear boxes, and that's been kind of the trend in the Green Mountains. They've done that at a lot of other sites that have had bear problems, and then it became like absolute policy that you cook outside. We installed like some tarps and some picnic tables to encourage people to cook not where they're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle something like the CDT with grizzlies if you've got this massive fear of even just like black bears?
Yeah, that was interesting, especially since I was solo. Like the entire time I was in grizzly country, I was the last, to my knowledge, the last Sobo to make it to the southern terminus. So the only thing that I know how to do is be bear safe. Like I tick all the boxes that I can, and then I try to use that rationally to calm myself down and be like, okay, you've done everything you can. The rest is up to fate. So like I would cook, if I was going to cook dinner, I would cook quite far away, and then I'd walk for multiple miles, and sometimes I wouldn't even cook because it was getting late in the season, so I'd eat like cold dinner and then walk and spit my toothpaste on the way, and then in the morning maybe I'd have a hot thing there. I was a little bit more laissez-faire with like cooking in my tent in the morning when I was packing up because I didn't really spill it that much, and I wasn't worried about the scents getting on the fabric all that much. But yeah, I definitely had sleepless nights, especially near, I think it was Pinedale. Of course, some ranger, his title, I believe, was like bear conflict manager or something. He was just like rolling up on one of the roads. And I was like, oh, what's going on? He's like, oh, I'm here about a problem bear. I was like, oh, fuck. He gave me some free food, but I did not sleep that night. I was like, there's a dude who's here to deal with problem bears in this exact area. I think 24 was like, he was saying that there was some sort of issue with the grizzlies' natural food sources at higher elevations, so they were coming down and preying on livestock a little bit more than they usually do. So there was a little bit more like human-bear conflict, especially in the rancher side.
Interesting.
Going back to the bear box break-in, that seems, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, negligent if the bear had successfully broken into the box and then to change nothing. Like you've basically instructed the bear, like, this is what you do to get food. Let's have our workers go through and do the exact same thing. Am I understanding that correctly?
I think since then, so this would have been 2015, like bear protocol, especially on the East Coast, has ramped up a lot. I think people were a little bit more like, it happened once, and like, you know, maybe it's not going to happen again. Like there wasn't really, let's identify trends and let's take proactive steps. I'm not trying to knock any organization for how they behaved in the past. I just think there's a general coming to, especially in those areas of like, oh, it's our job to make the bears safer by protecting them from us, by protecting us from them and our food sources from them. That's going to be better for everyone. Yeah.
I mean, even if they didn't have the knowledge of like you needed a steel bear box versus an aluminum, and I don't even know the timeline on that, it just seems wild that like a bear had a successful break into one of those boxes and then they just went right back to the same solution. It seems inevitable.
I think with a lot of seasonal work and a lot of seasonal turnover, there is the possibility for those kinds of, you know, deja vu moments to happen. If you don't cultivate institutional knowledge, if you're constantly having new people come in, even if like they do report it, it's just like it's not the same as having the same person in the same place being like, this happened last year. I'm going to be the spearheader of some different movement.
Yeah.
Different protocol.
I also have a note here about the ManHump, HumpMan.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a delightful challenge. I'm a really big believer in like just doubling the mileage you've ever done. Like, see what happens if you have only hiked 15 miles, which I think 16 was my daily limit at that point, and you just go 30. So it's not exclusive to the Green Mountain Club, but it's definitely part of the culture that a few people every summer will do summit to summit, either from Camel's Hump Summit to Mansfield Summit or vice versa, as like a big day challenge. It's really aesthetic, like both symmetry wise, like the whole objective is aesthetic, and also it's very scenic because both of those peaks are some of the few that get above tree line in Vermont State. So like that was an eye-opener for me. I did it with one of my other co-workers at the time. In 2016, I think was my first one, and we were like barely slept, maybe 2 to 5 because we were so excited. Like we barely got any sleep, and we're like, okay, let's do this, let's go. And we did sunrise to sunset. Everything was just like, oh my gosh, you can do so much more in the world. You can get, that was eye-opening.
Interesting. Is that kind of what pushed you to do things like try to do the PCT and the CDT in 1 year? Just like the challenge of how much more can I do?
Yeah, it's just, I kind of fall back on both Wahoo's philosophy when he was setting the FKT of like all in all day. And then also, I think it was Nick Fowler talking about like if you're up that many hours, you just see that many more sunsets and sunrises. There's just so much life that you can pack into a finite amount of time, and I want to explore how much you can. How densely can you live?
Have you hit any like obstacles there? Have you hit any points where you're like, I can't go further, this is my peak?
I think I've been out of condition for my objective sometimes. So like this past spring, I was taking the Allegheny Trail, and I was like, oh, in the last fall in 24, I ended the CDT with like a 75-mile push, and that was, again, eye-opening. That was almost doubling some of my other daily mileages. Like, that was so cool. I had such a great time. Let's see if we can do 80. And I really just didn't have the base to accomplish that well. I did it, but I could feel myself working through an injury in progress. Like, my shin swelled up real bad. It wasn't fun after a certain point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. I could also see like running out of hours in a day with like the peak of what the max you can hike per mile is.
Yes. Like that one, the 80 and the 75 were over 24 hours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like one go.
Yes. I still don't know what my like actual 24-hour challenge, quote unquote, would be. The closest was like during that 75-mile push. I think I got about 62 in like the fastest 24-hour period, but also there was like some weird night navigation. Like the CDT in that section is often posts and like washes without any defined tread. So I still have dreams of seeing what can be done there, or with a light pack, because those are both with like full-on hiking packs, seeing if I can occupy a little bit of the ultra space, even though that's not like my wheelhouse currently.
I was going to say this, like, train of thought kind of seems to lend itself towards eventually doing an FKT. Or attempting.
So it's not official because I don't know how to use technology, but the Allegheny Trail was sort of a self-supported FKT. Like, that's why I ended with the 80. Oh. It was 8 days and I think like 11 hours or something for the 311-mile trail.
Wow, that's a fast hike.
I think I definitely could do it faster. The training that I had for that was the Ben Mackay. So I only hiked for like 2 weeks, and then I went to trail days, and then I drank a lot, and then I was like, what if we did an FKT? So like we did that same trail, I'm hoping to do like later in a hiking season when there is more trail miles under my feet. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Optimistic, even though not running with like the front of the pack by any means. Like 35 miles a day is not cutting it for most things if they're off the radar. And unfortunately, the Allegheny Trail is now on the radar. It's on the podcast.
True. Okay, well, no one listened to that. Also,
so you're saying that you broke the FKT time, but you just didn't document it to their standards for it to be official?
So there was no self-supported FKT. There's unsupported, and as long as you break the unsupported with your self-supported, and then I think the fully supported, there's a men's time, but the women's time wasn't fully accepted because of documentation challenges. So the reason that it hasn't been accepted is because, like I said, I don't know how to use technology. I was using my Garmin, and I had it on like 10-minute tracking intervals, but I had a lot of trouble, especially on my mobile device, figuring out how to like get that in a folder. I need to figure that out and try again, because I like got it into a Google Earth thing, and then they're like, what is this? What is this KML? Send us something different.
So you still have the data. So like, if you figured out the technical glitch, you could technically submit it and have the self-supported record.
Yes, this is my procrastination kicking in. It's been many months.
It sounds like you're a busy person.
If someone's listening to this podcast and they have the chops to do this very simply, and they're listening to this and like, man, this is not as hard as it's being made out to be, where can they email you or get in contact with you to help you?
They can DM me on Instagram.
Remind them your Instagram.
The fanciest of feasts, all underscores, all lowercase letters.
Someone please help her.
I also feel like this could be solved in 30 seconds with ChatGPT.
Yeah. Again, the procrastination is very real. I think it's mostly a desktop issue, which I don't have a desktop. I need to go to a library, and that's an extra step.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, semi-congratulations.
Yeah,
on ChatGPT. There's no good segue here, so we'll just buffer this with Chauncey eating cheese, because I did finish my beer.
Oh, perfect.
Ooh.
I was also going to comment on the other point under the Green Mountain Club before we leave that section, is your biggest regret is that you should have dropped out of school to do seasonal work, but instead returned to the source of insomnia trauma. Mm-hmm. You had me on the first part that you should have dropped out of school to do seasonal work. I'm confused on the second part, but tell me about this biggest regret of yours while I open cheese.
Well, actually, this relates back to the bear. So I had like terrible nightmares as a kid, and then this incident about bears, and then
and this is from a Barney movie.
All from a Barney movie. Yes, you should go. It's really not that scary. I've gone back because it lived in my mind as this like haunting image, and then I was like, oh, this is really dumb. It's just that the kids scream and that they have red light for some reason. It's more weird than scary. But then this event happened, and I became like hyper vigilant as a result. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to be the first one to respond. I'm a caretaker. I need to take care of these people. So even when we transitioned to staying in the lodge in like 4-wall shelters rather than tents, it also broke into my tent when I wasn't there. It like slashed into my tent. So I was like,
that sucks.
I need to be like alert. I need to be as I said, proactive, the first one to see this and respond to it so that I can mitigate the threat. Then the hypervigilance, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not sleeping. My performance on the job is going down. And then I got performance anxiety. And then that just carried back into school. When I went to school for the semester, for the year, I started having a really bad time sleeping. And the people at this remote liberal arts university, the nurse practitioners there didn't have a great solution. It was drink hot milk and honey. It was the literal prescription that I got. So I believe it was allowed to fester a little bit longer than it could have before receiving like.
Do you just freeze cheese?
I'm just gonna make them a little colder.
You don't like
the lukewarm side.
You don't like the room temperature cheese?
Obviously not very European of you, Johns.
Is that how they do? I've never been.
Oh yeah. They keep their cheeses like in basically Tupperware, just out on the counter, and then when you open the lid, it's like the entire room you're intoxicated by the smell of farty smelling cheeses.
Here's the thing: on further review, it actually looks like really good cheese.
Yeah.
I thought you brought it from Salt Lake because you were like, I came from Salt Lake. Maybe you did, but it's all Vermont, like really good cheese.
It did come from Salt Lake, yeah?
No, it all came from the Cabot Annex. It came from Vermont. I went to the Cabot store to get the Cabot cheese.
Yeah,
I actually paid top dollar.
I was looking at it and I was like, I don't think you can find this shit in a Salt Lake store. First off, one of them was 2 Backpacker Radio Patreons a month. But she's got regular Cabot. She's got the 5-year aged and the 10-year aged.
Ooh.
So I was gonna cut you a piece of each and make you guess which is which. But
usually I'm the one cutting the cheese.
I figured I'd get it a little colder first.
Yeah. Finally got it.
But now I'm really excited. That looks really good. Yeah. That's way better than like some Mormon cheese.
Oh,
Mormon cheese.
The beehive cheese is fine.
It does sound cuter when you say it that way.
Yeah, they have like espresso rubs and Merlot rubs. They've got all sorts of. Like,
is Utah known for cheese?
it's not known, but like I assume Beehive. There's like Hebrew cheese. No, there's definitely some known cheddar varieties.
That's wet from my beer, not from
Anything
sneezing.
else?
Just handed you a wet paper towel.
Yeah, that was a volcano. Note to self: if you guys go for round 2, don't forget.
Yep.
Never
Good.
forget. Hashtag never forget.
Yeah.
Okay, well, when I'm done with my beer, then we'll do the cheese.
Okay, I have a note that I want to get to here.
Yes, get to it.
Peru.
Oh, I can wrap up the trauma story
Oh yeah,
too.
sorry, yeah. I forgot that we were still in trauma mode.
Not to belabor you with my woes.
Belabor us.
But yeah, this whole thing spiraled, and by the next summer, I was really not doing so hot. Come into the summer, have probably the best summer of my life. Like I'm so, even though it's still in the woods, it's almost like the source of the place where hypervigilance and performance anxiety started. It's also like healing in a way because I'm having good experiences in that same space, and I'm like, wow, I just want to hike the Appalachian Trail. Wow, I just want to be here in this place of healing. But I had so many societal factors and mom factors being like, well, you have all these scholarships to go to school. Like you really wanted to study abroad. If you leave now, you might not have those opportunities in the future. So like force myself to go back to school, kind of dive even deeper into these like sad spirals. And one could argue that those were all very valid reasons to go back to school. It is harder to return to a degree once you've left it and you've left those maybe like time contingent scholarships. But I believe that I would have found my way probably I don't need a degree for anything I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I probably would have found my way if I had explored that part. And I think if people are feeling like they should drop out, they will find their way.
Are you Brainiac? Mention scholarships.
Have you heard half the shit she's talking about? She's talking about like the silica on a poodle-dog something or another.
Yeah. Well, so you did well in school is what I'm gathering.
I'm a Phi Beta Kappa bitch.
I don't know what that is.
That's a honor society.
Okay.
Yeah.
I looked at Chauncey because that sounded like
I think I might actually be in that. There was some honor society that you could pay to be a part of, and it was just like a sign up. And I had an English professor that was like, if you get offered to be in any of these things, just pay the amount and be in it. And I was like, okay, but like, how do you track that? So I paid to be in a couple of them.
Okay.
I think that one's bestowed during school, but then they keep asking me for money. I'm like, I haven't gotten anything from this yet, though.
Yeah.
So I still keep holding out on that. But there's like a secret handshake, which if you know, you know.
No, then this isn't the one I was. This is
Okay.
one where they send you a letter and they're like, hey, you're really good at grades. Will you
Give us money.
Give us money? And then the English professor is like, you don't say no to those. And I was like, okay, here's the money.
Where'd you go to school and what was your degree?
I went to St. Lawrence University and I studied geology was my major. I minored in creative writing.
Oh, cool. Do you write?
Not really. I'd like to, but the barrier to entry is my barrier to entry. My perfectionism gets in the way, and so I really I'm so emotionally attached to the product that it stalls me from doing most things.
What
Like
about something that you don't even put out to the world, just like a brain dump Google Doc in the morning, just like getting thoughts on the paper?
that would be a healthy step forward.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get like fixated, like hyper focused. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got like a great idea, and I'll just run with it, and I'll make some little poem, and I'll be really, really proud of that. But the concept of deadlines, I guess, is and the not repetitive, the consistency that's required for, say, like any sort of blogging thing, or even stuff that is tandem to hiking if one were to get scholarships, because that's really where it would come in the best. Or if I had to write a book, those are all like more deadline focused.
Yeah. Do you have any aspirations to write a book?
I do.
Yeah.
I have an outline somewhere.
Okay. Well, publish the book and then come
Yeah.
back on.
If you
See,
self-publish,
it's so
then
easy to say.
if you self-publish, then it's your own deadlines.
This is true.
No one's holding you to them.
I have an outline so far. That's how far we got.
That's farther than nothing.
This is true.
So will your dine and ditch story in Peru make the book?
I think Peru as a concept definitely would fit into the general trend that I have for the book. But it's a great story. It just couldn't get included. I noted like It doesn't fit in poop in the woods because it wasn't happening in the woods, but it was.
We got to revisit that.
Oh yeah.
It
Speaking
was
of deadlines.
it was related to hiking. It had the reason that I was pooping myself happened in the woods. It was just it continued until I was in the front country. So actually segue. So the reason that I went to Peru is because I thought a change of scenery would fix my problems. I thought that going to New Zealand and studying abroad there would be like, oh my gosh, like totally different. It didn't. Like, academia is still academia. Pressures on myself were still pressures on myself. I was like, I just need a clean break from this. So I did in fact drop out of school for a semester. I took a 6-month like grace period, and I woofed instead in Peru. So that's worldwide opportunities on organic farms. Would highly recommend, depending on the country, it's like a certain application fee, maybe $40, maybe $10. It depends. And then you get access to all these host profiles. You reach out to them. You communicate to them like what you want to do, how long you want to stay.
Better or worse accommodations than the Conservation Corps?
I mean, it wasn't a tent. It was like an unheated building with a mattress on the floor. So yeah, we had a mattress.
Yeah.
It was better than the closed cell foam.
And they feed you better?
I was so different places have slightly different foci as regards to organic food. Many are farms. This one was actually more of a restaurant. So they had a small garden in the back that was organic, but they mostly worked on providing meals for city folk, mostly on the weekends. They would cook out of their kitchen, and they had a bunch of picnic tables out back. So yeah, the food was really good because it was a restaurant.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I've heard good things about woofing. If I hadn't, like, I had heard about it when I was working at the summer camp. And so if I hadn't done the PCT the year I didn't go back to the summer camp, woofing was like on the radar of things to look into.
Yeah.
I remember hearing really good things about it at the time.
It definitely depends on the host and like your vetting, their vetting. You could get paired with someone who's not like really out there to show you things. Like they just want your labor. I've heard sort of not horror stories, but less than ideal stories that way. These people, like the main family that I stayed with, I was part of the family. Like I went to a wedding reception with them. We like they celebrated my birthday. We had like a joint birthday party. The reason that I pooped in my pants was because my host brother, he was like, "Oh, you like hiking? Let me show you some of these ruins. They're like same as Machu Picchu, but like less people know about them." And I was sick. So my host brother, we get in a colectivo, which is like you pay a certain amount of money for a certain destination, but you don't know when it leaves. It just leaves when it fills up. So we get to the access point for Choqquequirao, which is ruins that are comparable to Machu Picchu in many ways, but lesser hiked. There are like trekking companies that go there, but it doesn't have like the trains and the buses and all the other stuff going on. So we take the cheapest possible route, stay at night over there. We're like hiking up. We get there super early because I hike things, and he's acclimatized to everything. So because we have these extra days to burn, he's like, well, we can either, and it's gorgeous. I mean, it's mostly steps. There's this really cool wall where like each terrace has a different llama built into the stonework. Like the llama's made of white and the rest of it's all darker rock. Cool. So it's incredible stonework with these like little steps jutting out, like it's just single rock, no railing, obviously, just little like foothold, handhold things. So we get up there and he's like, well, we could walk to Machu Picchu. Like there's a trail that goes over there. We could head back, or we can go find these hot springs. I was like, sick, I've never seen hot springs before. Let's do that one. It turns out he has very vague notions of where we're going. So we just like wander down. There's a path. It goes past a person's house, and on the map it'll be like town of. No, it's just one dude's house. There's no running water and there's no electricity. It's just a guy's house who will let you stay there for a certain amount of money. So we like make our way through these quote unquote towns. We get up to the next one. We're trying to gather more information, gather supplies. Most of our supplies are like mote, which is boiled very large corn kernels. Some cheese like queso fresco. We got some avocados and animal crackers, and I think some cans of like condensed sweetened milk. They don't really like, it's not the convenience store is not set up for hikers. We're just trying to hodgepodge things that might be relatively shelf stable, and like spoiler alert, the corn kernels were not. The boiled corn kernels were not shelf stable in the heat. So we're at this place, we're getting supplies. He's asking around, speaking really fast. I mean, I can sort of follow Spanish, but a lot of things he's saying are in Quechua, or in the native language, so I would be totally lost even if I had better Spanish. And we get like a literal napkin sketch of, you follow this trail down here, and then you follow this trail, and then hot springs. You're like, okay, down the hill we go. And we're walking, and the night comes in, I was like, okay, we're not there yet. Let's go to sleep. And then we're walking, and we're not there yet. And I was like, we're running out of food. I don't know the last time we had water. Like, this is kind of an issue. And in the morning, he's like, no, I think it's down there. And so he just like starts sprinting down this incredibly steep hill. We finally, I'm like, geez, I guess I follow him down. There does happen to be hot springs down there. There does happen to be cold river water down there. So we're able to filter water and go in the hot springs. I'm like, okay, I guess we wait here until nighttime so that we can get up with the limited amount of water we have. We ascend, and then, oh my gosh. We ascend, we sleep, we're running low on water. I realized that my Sawyer mini filter, like the flavor is nasty. It's that mildewy flavor, and I don't want to drink it. So we're getting close to the town. I was like, okay, there's this beautiful stream. It's been so long since we had fresh water. I'm just going to drink it straight out of the mountains, straight out of the gorgeous Andes Mountains. Like, thank God that there was this oasis on the way up. We get to town, and I'm like, my stomach's not feeling so good.
There's a lot of like alpacas and shit in those mountains, right?
Yeah, there was pigs, actually. We got to the top of the stream that I thought was like a beautiful spring coming out of
fresh mountain source.
This fresh mountain source. And I was like, how do you say pig water in Spanish? Like, there's not really the adjective, the noun being used as an adjective thing. I was like, the water of the pig, it doesn't sound as good as like pig water.
Water of the pig.
We're drinking pig water.
They're just like, so you've been drinking pig piss.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, that was stupid. Don't do that again. And as we're like heading into town, I'm like, oh geez. Maybe it was like the fried food that I ate, because we ran out of food. The corn kernels turned bad. We ate like a bunch of fried chicken covered in mayonnaise and mustard for dinner.
What the fuck?
That's like one of the great street foods there.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, okay, it was probably that. I just need to empty both ends and we'll be good.
Gesture.
Yeah, both ends.
Plug for the YouTube.
So preemptively do that, get in the bus, because we had to wait like an entire day because the one bus when we got up had already left for the day. So bus number 2, we're going back to the bigger town. I'm like, okay, I hope we get to the stop before this comes out again. Luckily,
which end are we talking?
Oh, both. So luckily there's this lady who had like these herbs. She's like, crush these up and smell them. So I crushed them up in between my wrists. They're supposed to be like some herbal remedy. And I'm like, okay, the nausea is down enough where I can at least get to the stop and not puke on the bus. But like after that, I had a bag. It was all coming out the front end. It was all coming out. We get to the main town where there's a turnover to get back to our like woofing place. And I'm like, I get up off the bus. I'm like, oh geez. And then it happens. It's just like all down my leggings. So I'm like, I can't get on the transfer bus that we're supposed to do, the little van transfer thing. I was like, host brother, we need to find it indoors. So we go over to some hostel, and he's like, hey, can we check in? We just like need to hang out for a couple hours. She's not feeling so good. She needs to lie down. And they're like, yeah, you can use this room. And while over there, I'm like, I can't lie down like this. So I go over to the bathroom, and I like rinse out everything in the shower. And I just pass out. Finally, bus is coming. We get out of there. I'm like, cool, kind of dazed, like wave at the guy. Walked to the bus, and I was like, how much do I owe you for the room? And he's like, oh, I didn't pay. So I just like got shit all over their shower, lied down in their bed, watched some like Jeopardy kind of thing for hours, and then they got nothing. They got nothing. Back at the hostel, or it's not the hostel, at the woofing place, luckily this Dutch girl had come, and so she had carbon pills. They were activated charcoal pills, and I was just like downing like crazy because there wasn't any Imodium or like other diarrheal stopping things. Like my house mother's like, it's because you're eating cold food. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's not the reason.
Maybe I shouldn't have put the cheese in the freezer.
Yeah.
I'll go get that.
But yeah, it haunts me to this day that I did that to a hostel.
Yeah. Oh, well.
You can find them.
Yeah, you could probably dig up the address, send them a... No.
I don't know if many of these places have internet presences.
Yeah. They probably had to shut down after that, too. It's no big deal. How are the cheeses feeling?
They feel great.
Yeah,
Nice.
good.
They feel the right temperature.
Yeah. Good. Did we talk about you dumpster diving on the AT last time?
I don't know if we did or not.
I don't recall it. So if you don't recall it, we should recall it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So in preparation for the Appalachian Trail, I was like, gotta save money. I'm a broke ass bitch recently out of college. I graduated in spring of 2018 and I started hiking in 2019. So it's like, there is a little bit of money making period, but not that much. So I spent the entire winter raiding the local grocery store for produce behind it and then dehydrating it because I think electricity was all part of the same bill. So I don't know if we're talking about that dumpster diving. That's where I got like really good at dumpster diving. We also, it was like community culture at the Green Mountain Club to go to the nearest grocery store and bring back like hauls for communal use. We just dump it on the employee table and everyone be like, okay, cool, like take what you want.
Does that mean everyone's dumpster diving, or where's the food being sourced from?
There were sometimes like people would go in groups to go do dumpster dive and then bring it back. It was of their own volition, and then they didn't have to share, but they often got too much for an individual.
Yeah, you guys are raccoons.
So like, yeah, introduction to dumpster diving, kind of perfecting it with the dehydrating method. And then I wasn't mailing myself stuff because I don't think that's, unless you have really strict dietary restrictions, doesn't make sense on the Appalachian Trail. But when I had packages from home, like I had different shoes that were getting changed out, my mom would take some of my veggies or fruits or whatever and like stick them in the package as buffering. But then my partner at the time, when we were on the International Appalachian Trail, we're like, well, we're even more broke than we were before because we're extending past the normal terminus. So we were dumpster diving in New Brunswick. I think we did in Maine too. I have a core memory of being near, I think it was a Hannaford's, and like sleeping a few hundred feet away, maybe a few hundred yards, like on some little ATV turn off, and then dumpster diving and bringing it back. Like we were eating the yogurt from the dumpster at our little campsite. But we also went dumpster diving I got the best blueberry pie of my goddamn life from a dumpster. And we were just so hungry because it was cold. It was like always sleeting, and it was September, and it was flat, it was boring. So like we just needed calories and also needed stimulation. We're like, oh my gosh, there's sugar, there's food here. So we hung out a little bit too long eating like cookies and bars. They were throwing a lot of stuff, and we actually they're like, usually the person comes by, if you're dumpster diving, sometimes someone will see you and you're like, that's my cue to leave. But we didn't leave this time. We just hung out and kept eating the cookies. They're like, they didn't want to do anything. And then they went there and got their manager, and they're like, we're gonna call someone on you. Fine, I'll just take this to go.
Yeah. Do you have any best practices for dumpster diving? Like, do you want to be there at close time, or are they dumping throughout the day? What are the best tactics?
I think it depends. Like in Vermont now, it's tricky because they've moved towards more composting, which isn't overall it's a great step. But it means that they're separating things out from whatever plastic packaging they had. Previously, it was really nice to get like, a piece of cake or something still in the box. Or you get like one of those things of cherry tomatoes that are like still in the canister. Because really it's like You don't want meats contaminating anything or oils. You want it to be like just fruits or just veggies, and you want to be picking things that are like have fairly defined outsides, things that can be rinsed off well. In other places, like if you're dumpster diving more for baked goods, then that would be like after closing, maybe give it some leeway for people taking stuff out. I think you get to know the hours really. If you're going to be a consistent dumpster diver, you get like your kind of your hotspot areas, and you hit them up in a certain order at a certain time. Like you kind of observe, do some surveillance.
I think it was my second or third date with Jenna, and we went to Sexy Pizza in Denver, like 3 minutes before they were scheduled to close. Mm-hmm. They're like, sorry, we just got rid of all of our pizza. I'm like, fuck. They're like, but if you want some, it's in the dumpster out back. I think he said it in jest. Mm-hmm. And like we had just started dating, so like neither of us wanted to be the person to be like, should we go dig pizza out of a dumpster? Mm-hmm. Eventually one of us cracked, and we made the suggestion. And we went home with like 3 full boxes of pizza.
Nice.
And still one of the best date moments to my life.
It's such a good bonding story.
It absolutely was. I love how much advice if you had to guess how much in US dollars you've pulled out of dumpsters, what number would you attribute to that?
Well, it's definitely gone down, because since I've been living in Utah and going to Smith's more regularly, which has like reduced for quick sale items, then I've been pretty much exclusively shopping in those, which is giving money to the business. But also, if they have that as an option, I feel like possibly their dumpster selection is even poorer. Like if they have the avenue of selling this for dollars, they probably wait even longer to toss things in dumpsters.
Sure. And all the best items are going to get picked out in those sales too.
Yeah, like they have produce, and even sometimes the produce that they have, I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, if you had to pick one number for all that you've dumpster dove throughout your career.
I mean, probably a few $100 is not as much as it could be.
Yeah. Okay. I was expecting a bigger number, so that's respectable.
Mostly like the cherry tomatoes are great. Like you can give them a little squish test and see like, is this yes or no? And then you toss the ones that don't pass the squish test.
Yeah, I feel like cherry tomatoes have a pretty long shelf life.
Yeah.
Like they stay firm for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Apples are good too.
Yeah.
So I taught a season at Stowe, like my first winter out of college, and the kids that I was teaching, they were too good to be on the side of the mountain that had the snacks. It was a multi-week program, and they usually have snacks available like 10 a.m., but we would have had to traverse like all the way back to the beginner area to find these snacks. I was like, these kids are hungry. They're like 6 and 7, but they don't have money to buy food, and I don't want to bring them all the way back to the snack area. What can I do instead? So I dumpster dived a bunch of apples, and I turned those into apple chips. And then sometimes I turned it into applesauce and then made that into like fruit leather. And one time I let it go too long, and it got crackly. It got too hard. And I was like, they won't notice. And they're like, this is glass. You're feeding us glass. And I was like, no. And they're like, can you bring more apple glass next time?
Apple glass. Love that.
This cheese is so fucking good. I'm giving us the 1, the 5, and the 10. I'm gonna have a bite for each of us. We could pick which is which.
Okay, love that.
Holy shit! I just had a nibble of one of them.
Do you know which one is which? Like,
yes, I'm gonna know.
You know.
I'm gonna know.
Let's go post your last visit here on Backpacker Radio. I know we talked about the Arizona Trail a little bit. We haven't talked about the Oregon Coast Trail. I did the first 100, the northern 100 miles of that trail. I really enjoyed it. Tell me about your experience.
Yeah, my pitch for the Oregon Coast Trail is like, it's a great travel destination, as in like a vacation destination. I think of it more as I want to go take a road trip, but I don't want to pay for gas. I'm going to use my Chevrolets, my Lamborghini, whatever you want to call them.
Chevrolets.
Wait, your
Lamborghini. So like I treated it like that kind of vacation. I wasn't trying to be frugal like I often am on hikes. Like I was stopping at espresso places. I was getting seafood. I was picking up rocks. it's more of a pilgrimage to multiple kinds of travel than it is a through hike, because like the reason it exists is the Oregon Beach Bill. It is coded into law that the beaches are public, not property, but public access. Like it used to be a highway. People would take, because like the hard packed sand is the easiest way to traverse the often very rocky coasts of Oregon. So like they made it law that you can always be there. Sometimes you can't access every part of the beach because of headlands and like the access parts are private property.
I remember cars driving out onto the beach.
Yeah. So in that spirit, I guess, there are places where you take fishing vessels. Like I think maybe in the northern part you would have taken one of those. There's places where it's either highway walk, or if you can time it correctly, you're going across the mouth of some of these rivers. But if the water flow is high, or like you can't hit all of them at the right time during the day, you're going to be on roads. I would say like bus travel's kind of, in my opinion, accepted as part of that experience. It's more of like I guess an ode to travel. It's an ode to the beach and the place that it has in like Oregon's history. It's not an alternative to the PCT unless you have that mindset.
I do remember there was a stretch that we were walking through a tunnel with like no shoulder, and that fucking sucked. Like a bus through that, and again I only did a fraction of the trail, so maybe this exists in a lot of places, but I remember thinking like, this should not be part of the hike.
The seat ahead tunnel is definitely the worst.
Yeah. Okay.
I picked up a hitchhiker there.
Yeah?
Yeah. I convinced a hitchhiker to be through-hiker for like 24 hours.
Nice.
And we ran through that tunnel together. And then we got, I think, to the next town. He's like, man, I'm taking a bus.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to get to California. And I was like, we can walk there.
Probably like, all right, crazy lady.
Yeah. He had like, you could... At first, I thought he was another thru-hiker. I was really excited because I hadn't seen any other thru-hikers. But he was lying down, like, kind of next to the road. And when he got up, I was like, oh, all of your stuff's in a sleeping bag over your shoulder. Like, we're both hikers, but I think we're slightly different kinds.
Yeah.
You should come hiking, though. You should try this one out.
My understanding is that the southern half of the trail is a little bit more remote than the northern half. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, there's still fairly frequent town opportunities. There's less grocery outlets, which in my mind characterizes the Oregon Coast Trail. In my head, I would call it the Oregon Coast Trail, GOCT, the Grocery Outlet Coast Trail, because there are so many opportunities to go to my favorite grocery store. Less so in the southern part, though. It's a little bit leaner pickings.
It's called the Grocery Outlet?
Coast Trail. Like a grocery outlet bargain market.
Okay.
Is the best.
I don't know.
You've never been?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh.
I was taking advantage of the towns. Like I did this with my buddy, and we were like eating meals in towns. But yeah, I don't think I've ever been to the grocery outlet.
But there's so many on the PCT.
Did you go to the grocery outlet?
It's called the grocery outlet?
Well, okay, so it's a franchise thing. So each one is locally owned, but it all goes under the same name, and a lot of them have the same products. It's like, have you been to a Big Lots? It's like a Big Lots for food.
Yeah, I've been to Big Lots.
Yeah, so it's like all the flavors of things that people don't necessarily want. Like they might only have pumpkin pie Pop-Tarts, and that's it.
Is that what a Big Lot? I mean, it's been a long time since I've been in a Big Lots.
They have Big Lots is like the not the factory rejects, but like they sold most of stuff, but there's like one case left, and it doesn't make sense to have it out. So they'll send it to Big Lots, and you'll have maybe one of each item, or like a handful, or maybe parts are missing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I've been to non-grocery outlet stores, knowing that was the premise. So
You mean you've been to grocery stores?
No, I've been to non-grocery outlet stores. Yeah. Which is the rejects are various reasons why they can't sell.
Yeah.
right.
Have you been to the outlet stores in Silverthorne? Not Silverthorne. Dillon? Frisco?
No, I drive past them.
Yeah.
I want to go to the Williams-Sonoma outlet because they've got one of those Oni pizza ovens that we had on our registry, but they've got it for like 30% off.
Yeah.
Just anytime you're up there to like do mountain stuff, and you're not in the mindset to shop. And then when you're on your way home and you say you'll stop on the way home, you just want to get home.
For sure.
Which piece of cheese do you want to start with?
How are they? What's this matrix?
Each row is one for each of us. So 1, 1, 1 for each of us.
Okay.
1, 1, 1 for each of us. 1, 1, 1 for each of
You
us.
just grab all three and go?
No, because I need to know which one is which.
All right.
So, all right, we'll start with that one. You have to guess if it's regular, 5-year, or 10-year.
I feel like I need to taste all three to have the comparison.
Okay.
Like a nibble of each.
Yeah.
Okay, I nibbled mine.
Okay, that's number one. we're going to get complaints about the chewing sound. That's strong.
That one is almost, it tastes a little stinky. It tastes stinky. Not that one. The one I just took a bite of. I need some beer.
Okay, that's 2.
They also have very different, like, textures.
Yeah.
Apparently I don't have that good of a cheese palate. I like the last one the best. It's almost Swiss tasting.
Rank them 3, 2, 1. Like 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
So that's your favorite, that's your second favorite, that's your third favorite?
Yeah.
I feel like the third one that I tried was the creamiest and probably the youngest, like has not been aged the most. I feel like the middle one was definitely the saltiest and the closest to Parmesan, and it was the crumbliest. And I'm guessing that the one closest to you is the middle one.
In terms of age?
In terms of age. So I think that's, like, pointing to them right now. I think that's youngest, second youngest, third.
Fucking spot on. You nailed it. I thought that one, because the middle one, the 5-year, it tastes a little stinky. I don't know how else to describe it. So I would think that one would have been the oldest one. But I do like that Parmesan-y taste of the 10-year.
Ooh. And then ones that are more aged are more expensive, I assume.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah.
That would check out. I don't know about the 5-year, but the 10-year is great. I've also got open the Ale House one. I'll give you a piece.
Yeah, I feel like when you go older, it can either get, like, really, really tangy, or they can go, like I said, more like the Parmesan, nutty, salty route.
I'm impressed. I mean, I know you're from Vermont, but I'm impressed with your ability to
discern cheese.
Discern a cheese's age.
Yeah, I don't have a cheese.
And you were describing the why too. You were just guessing. You were like, well.
Do we know what this is, or are we gonna have to describe it to you?
No, this one is literally just like a different ale house.
Got it.
This one's from Woodstock, Vermont.
Ooh, this one's not my favorite.
I actually like how mild it is. After
Yeah.
the last one, this is a little bit more.
I don't know if I can finish the 5-year, but I can finish the 10 and the 1.
This is the one that has Lawson's in it.
Has what in it?
Lawson's Finest Liquids.
What's that?
It's a beer brand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it says ale house on it.
Yeah, Sip of Sunshine.
Nice.
Not to sound like a wine snob, but this almost has like notes of pineapple to it. Do you get that at all?
When you say notes of, it does make you sound like a wine snob.
I've been drinking more wine, so I am very sophisticated.
What are the notes of? Hold on, let me taste.
I pick up a little bit of pineapple. I don't even know if that's a thing you're supposed to do with cheese, talk about totally random foods, but
I think you can do what you want.
Yeah.
And the reason I
I'm not
brought
getting
cheese is because I was originally like, I need to bring cookies. Rachel's very, like, hand-holdy in me accidentally signing up for, or like buying tickets for the wrong day, and be like, actually I said this. I'm like, fuck. So I was like, I'll bring cookies, like I owe you something, I'm so sorry. And I was like, wait, everyone's eating cookies for the holidays. What if I brought cheese instead?
This is
Cheese is
awesome.
incredible.
Yeah.
And if it's fresh from Vermont, incredible
More incredible.
My heritage.
more incredible, yes.
Yeah. Where in Vermont are you from?
I'm from the Mad River Valley. So, like, Mount Abe, Battelle Shelter would be the closest things. I meant to ask, did you see the barricade in Montclair? Did you stop in for a snack or anything there?
I don't remember that particular shelter.
It's the, like, enclosed one on the south side of Campbell Sump.
I don't believe so.
This is where we find out Zach never actually hiked the long trail. He just went away for 3 weeks to get a break from the kids.
No, there was only one that was a pay shelter that I stayed in, if memory serves. And maybe that was it, but I don't remember them by name at all.
That's okay. It's unless you, like, live there and, like, live in that realm. Like, at one point I could name them all in order because I'd hiked it and I was working on it for so long.
Yeah.
But I definitely understand them blending together.
If it was one of the first shelters after what's the Mad Taco? What town is that? Waitsfield?
Mm-hmm.
Is it maybe like 10 miles north of there?
Yeah.
Because I remember that was the day that I packed out something from the Mad Taco. I stayed at one of those shelters, so it might have been that one.
It could have been, because I think Birch Glen's 3 miles north of App Gap, and then what else is around there? Yeah, it's a good another handful of miles. I think that's the next.
And I think
There's
logistically,
Cooley
there weren't
Glen.
many other options. Because I'm not a fan of sleeping in shared shelters because I have sleep issues. So
I'm the opposite. I like it when there's people there.
Oh, really? I guess with your bear phobia, that helps.
They can deal with it.
Strength in numbers, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. So at what point did you get a job with the PNTA?
My first season with them was 22.
Okay. And what's your role?
Trail crew lead.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you to them? I mean, it makes sense given everything that we've learned about you to date, but like, what was the final nail in the coffin?
Getting rejected by CFI.
What's CFI?
Colorado 14ers Initiative. So that next summer I was like, well, I don't have any money. I should probably do trail work. She forgot.
Why are we so dumb? I say we because you did it too. Oh my God. Sorry, audience. Sorry for anyone who that was very jarring for. I opened the beer after being warned and I spilled it.
Probably less annoying than the sound of us eating cheese.
Yum, yum, yum.
We weren't loud.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, the impetus was I want to be in trails. I had applied to what I thought was a perfect trail position. They had this like niche thing where there's going to be 2 individuals going up and down Grays and Tories. Grays and Tories, yeah. And there's not even an apostrophe, right? So we're going to be building like retaining walls out of rock and like wire, little cages. And I was like, sweet. So I get to hike up and down a mountain every day, just carry stuff on my back and talk to people. That's like dream job. So it was like all set pretty much. I was just waiting. The interview went really well. They said you'll have a job offer within a couple weeks. And like 2-3 weeks went by and I reached out. I was like, hey, just wondering when the paperwork's going to come in so I can like start the onboarding process. And they're like, actually, we have changed the position. It's broadened in scope now. It requires chainsaw certification, which you don't have. I was like, okay, can I be like a member? I was hoping to be in a position of leadership or like more of a standalone thing, but I'm happy to be a member on some other crew if that's available. Like, we've already filled that up. I was like, shit, it's really late for trail season for application. So I was just asking any trail friends, people who'd hiked, people who'd worked in hiking, like, any ideas? Because like I don't want to work at a conservation corps again. I don't want to work for Southwest Conservation Corps again. I think at that point I had also maxed out AmeriCorps terms. You can only do a total of 4 regardless of length. So I had gotten 3 of those when I was working for the Green Mountain Club, and then a 4th one with SCC. So like a lot of places couldn't hire me because that's where the funding would have come from. So I ended up like just last minute hire with the PNTA. And I fell in love with Pasayten. It is such a lovely area in, I guess it's like technically Eastern Washington is just to the east of the North Cascade National Park. So it's a little bit in the rain shadow, a little bit drier, but there's still bountiful forests.
Walk me through your typical workday.
Sure. So assuming it's not a pack in or pack out day, which is great because in an 8-day hitch, that's 2 of the days. So they're just walking days where you get paid to walk like 15 miles in with all your shit. Most of your shit. Mules carry a lot of stuff too. Shout out to the packing program that the Forest Service and sometimes volunteers help provide. So on a regular day, we're doing 10-hour work days, sometimes slightly more if we're trying to front load a project, but we'll have breakfast, usually something pretty simple. Some will boil water. You kind of do it yourself. Other crews might make food, but that sounds like too much effort. So like do it yourself, get yourself ready, have your lunch packed. We'll do stretch and safety. That starts with a question of the day, which I'm really bummed that you switched where the question of the day is, because I used to just ransack like the first 5 minutes of Backpacker Radio episodes for question of the day ideas.
Is entirely Zach's choice.
Okay.
This was what was on the show notes.
No. She's saying she hates
what?
when you switched where it was. Remember, question of the day used to be at the top of the show.
Yeah, right.
Now it's in the Now she actually has to listen to the episodes.
Well, sometimes I look at the show notes. But I would ransack that, and we'd have stretch circle. You do a stretch, you answer the question of the day, and a safety tip, and that's all paid time. And then we get to walking. So the best days are when you have to walk multiple miles to work, because then you're just like chilling, getting paid. The tools usually we'll leave out there unless there's something like crosscuts we might bring back if it's expected to rain or we want them under shelter. But for the most part, we've hiked our tools on the first working day, and they're out there at the project. And then it's really like depends vastly on the things that are needed by that section of trail. Typically the triage, because that's what I'm going to use for this term, like to characterize this is log out first. So things that are logs that are in the way, you're going to cut those out. And then if log out is completed, you're moving on to tread stuff and maybe brushing if you have time.
What is tread stuff and brushing?
Tread stuff would be, it could be building new structures if it's an area that like absolutely needs it and you think it's worth the time investment to make something stronger. It could be check steps. Typically, it's easier to do that with timber, but a rock check step isn't going to erode, or like the rock itself isn't going to disintegrate in the same way that eventually a log will. Maybe water bars. Could be just earthworks, like you could just be adding some drains, maybe some reinforced drains, so like a dirt dip, but then also putting some rocks in the bottom. What else would we be doing? And brushing is clearing out the corridor, so that's not just like the tread width that you're walking through, that's also, if it's made for stock, that's like 8 feet, so 4 feet on each side, and then up to 10 at the top, kind of like a big archway, you can think of it. So that, stuff is not growing into the trail and then psychologically pushing people off where they should be walking. Yeah. I think that's what I usually think of brushing as, is like it's a tool to direct people to where they should walk.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I'm noticing, it's in the PNTA section, as well as a couple others, mayonnaise comes up somewhat frequently in these show notes, from a rapid mayonnaise escalation on the PCT Sobo in 21 to working for the PNTA, a note about Willet Mayo, to the Allegheny Trail, where now we become all in caps, mayonnaise is not effective. What's going on with mayonnaise in regards to the PCT, the PNTA, and life in general, that it's such a reoccurring theme in these show notes?
I mean, how does one describe a love affair? Where does it start? Where does it end?
Wherever makes the most sense to start it, I guess.
I mean, it's a really like effective calorie per ounce thing. And the rapid mayonnaise escalation was like on the first PCT, so southbound, I think in the South Sister area, I was really tired. I was like, what do I have to like kind of cobble together a non-cook meal, because we were also low on water. I was like, well, I have some bread. I think I had some sun-dried tomatoes and some jerky and some mayonnaise. And I was like, cool, this is like basically a BLT. I was like, damn, this slaps really good. And so over the course of like that summer, I was like, wait, what if we don't have the jerky? Does it work with just the sun-dried tomato and the mayo? What if we don't have the sun-dried tomato? What if we just have it with mayo? And it's still so good. I think it just like hits a primal need at that point in the trail of like fat and calories. Like you're just in that body zone where you crave it, and then that translates back to normal life. Kind of like when people have soda in a certain circumstance and they're like, I just love that soda now, even though I know it's terrible for me. It's not terrible for you. Probably don't need that much saturated fat in a everyday diet, but it's very effective. So it's like become more and more a part of my thru hiking diet because it's so useful, because especially packets are so shelf stable. It just like makes everything go down easy. And then it's also become a crew favorite. Like this last summer, we went through so much mayonnaise and we all made stickers that said mayonnaise, an instrument. Just like, it's what you do. I don't know how else to describe it.
What does Willet Mayo mean?
Oh, that was just people be like, will you eat mayo on this? Like a Coconut Delight Girl Scout cookie. I was like, I mean, yes. Does it enhance the flavor? No. But is it off-putting? Will I not consume it because it has mayonnaise on it? Absolutely not.
I've eaten fucking cat food. Like,
this isn't enough shit on that.
You're challenging the wrong person.
Do you have
here.
mayo in your backpack?
Oh, not right now. I'm out of Hellmann's packets, and I will eat most of the mayonnaises, but I am definitely like a fangirl, and I'm sorry to people who are like in the Duke's household, but it's a little too vinegary to be as universally accepted as Hellmann's.
I feel like you've made some enemies there, because Duke's people really go hard for Duke's.
I know, it is the mayo of the tailgate, and I do like it. I kind of compare it to like sour cream and cream cheese. Like there are some scenarios where like sour cream is the move, but I think cream cheese has more universal applications. Like if I have to pick one, I'm going to be able to use that in more scenarios, and that's how I feel about Duke's.
is that it's not the cream cheese.
It's the sour cream.
It's the sour cream. Interesting.
Sometimes it's really, really good, but like it's just so vinegary that it doesn't work in as many contexts for me.
I am a cornbread hoe. Yes, I am. I will never deny that. What's the weirdest thing you put mayo on?
I mean, my thighs.
I brought that on myself.
You're the second guest now that's used mayo as a...
No, that's why.
So that's this,
Okay.
that's this. If you scroll down to Allegheny Trail, it's in all caps. Mayonnaise is not effective, dirtmonger. So you took his advice.
I did. I was desperate. I was like, so that was when I was doing an 80-mile push. It had been raining. Luckily, the rain like kind of trailed off, but I don't have a thigh gap. They rub. And so if it's lubricated from rain or sweat, like it gets chafy. So I was like, I've already convinced myself that I need to do this many miles in this day. Like it's 6 a.m. and we're already chafing. What do we do? And the whole rest of those like 29 hours was just chafe mitigation. And so I was trying everything. I was like, well, I do have this mayonnaise packet. We'll try it. And my takeaway is that mayonnaise is too water soluble. Maybe in his like man pond thing where like sweat is less. I don't know.
I think he put it on his butthole.
He put it on like I think toilet paper or something. And
Oh yeah, and then put it in his
yeah.
beehole.
Did he say that it was a good solution though? I thought it was just like desperation. This is all he had. I don't remember him like necessarily advocating.
I feel
for
like he liked it.
I think he's a mayonnaise proponent.
Yeah.
I think we're on equal footing.
But I don't know if he was proponent for thighs. I think he was
Yeah.
definitely just proponent for anywhere between your cheeks.
So, as someone who also chafes, what is your best chafe prevention and mitigation?
If I had access to chamois butter, that might be it. But like, if you're already on trail and you're already chafing,
Yeah.
that's more of like a bike shop thing on the Appalachian Trail. Maybe you could pick that up quickly. But if you're in smaller towns, like that's harder to find. So what I ended up doing for the Allegheny Trail was taking Neosporin, and I had a rain skirt that I made out of a Coleman poncho. Like I just shoved my waist through where the head hole is, and I tucked that in between my legs and then smothered it in Neosporin. So I just have like this slippery plastic going back and forth and back and forth. I'm like, because of the sound again. I also suspect, because I haven't actually tried this summer, I had a interaction with Spam. I don't usually eat Spam, and that's one of my few things that, like, I'm not sold on it, but I had a bunch of Spam grease for reasons, and I was like, I think this would make a pretty good chafe lube.
Yeah. If you have more chafe questions, feel free. But I want to go back to
Go back.
the trail maintenance, because
I was just going through the things that I noticed that there was a lot of mayo being brought up, so
Sure.
it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
under
No,
PNTA.
a valid
It's a motif.
question. Yeah.
Yes.
A light motif.
We should talk more about the trail maintenance thing. 'Cause I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
this deserves more play. So everything that you're doing with the PNTA is trail maintenance. Are you doing any trail building?
My crew, no. We're in the Pasayten Wilderness primarily, so there's limited building, like reroute things happening in wild spaces. I think we participated. Where would it be? I think I've only done realignment. So a reroute, like a full-on trail build, has to have a lot of approval from different agencies. A realignment can be within a certain distance of the existing corridor, so like 10 feet off. We did some of that during training one time, where it was like, oh, like this one section sucks. If we go 10 feet off here, we can build a more sustainable bench.
Yeah. Give us the future, I guess the current versus the future outlook for the PNTA, because this is one where, like, I feel like you talk to people who hiked it 10 years ago and they say like it's amazing, but there was no trail, and I know it's still very bushwhacky even today, but like it sounds like the future is relatively bright.
Yeah, it's complicated. So on the one hand, it is an organization that has an amazing executive director. Jeff Kish is like really vocal. He's always going to Congress. He's always on the phone with people. He's like very much pushing to get the kind of support that a national scenic trail deserves. And with that support and with funding, like ultimately one of those goals is to get it off of roads, is to acquire land or easements to make the trail more single track. So that's a positive. The negative is it keeps burning, and so we keep having to put a lot of resources to opening up or dealing with places that used to be hikeable that are all of a sudden not hikeable anymore. So one thing that comes to mind is the Soda Creek, like, not Chuckanut, what am I thinking of? Chichawantine River in the Pasayten. It was already like a section that was kind of remote, kind of rugged, and then the Parks Fire came through in 22, which, fun fact, had to evacuate from, and it's just like, it's a mess in there. It's the amount of effort, especially with following wilderness regulations, that would be required to make that more accessible is beyond anyone's current budget. And every year that it doesn't get maintained, like, this deferred maintenance creeps up. Weeds are growing places, more trees are falling down. So in that sense, like, I am a little bit pessimistic because that keeps happening and budgets keep getting cut. It's not just at the federal level, although that's huge. Like, people, yeah, it's a mixed bag is what I'm saying. There's some optimism, there's some pessimism. I don't know what's going to win out. It's so volatile, especially with the current political climate. Like, no one expected that this past season crews would be reduced by like 50% and that there wouldn't be the tandem working of Forest Service seasonal crews, but there we were.
Mm-hmm. And I know that there are plenty of volunteer opportunities with PNTA. Want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. We love volunteer labor. It's definitely like we have groups from Boeing that come up. The Bow Alps, actually, for graduation from their program, they have to do a certain number of hours of volunteerism in the outdoors to like get their little certificate to be alumni. So that's cool. And oftentimes they spend those volunteer hours with us with the PNTA. But it's tricky. A lot more.
Did you make them pull the poison ivy?
There's not. And there's definitely some poison ivy, but I haven't seen myself. I haven't interacted with poison ivy much on the PNT.
Yeah.
There's more Devil's Club.
Is there any hazing ritual that you can pay back for all the hard labor that you've had to endure through your conservation career?
Oh, we want them to come back.
Okay.
We want them to donate their time and hours and all that stuff. The tricky thing is that there are some places that are accessible, and back to the concept of triage, like, they're getting more volunteerism because people can do it in a day, because they can hike in and they can do their service, and we love that service. But like, what I think needs to happen in the future is people who have the ability to go off on these multi-week, multi-month hikes, could you donate a slightly longer period of time so that these more remote sections can get maintained? Because that's where we're really seeing, at least I'm really seeing, the disintegration of structures, of tread, of erosion. It's so hard to get out there, and it's not always glamorous work. Sometimes it's brushing. Sometimes it's just, we need someone to cut these not limbs, these vines, these shrubs that are growing into the trail that are pushing people like 6 feet down the hill. And it's hard to ask someone to do that because it takes so much effort to get out there.
Yeah.
Tell us about working harder and smarter. The ratchet ingenuity of straps and scissor jacks.
So this past season, I got to work with all returners, and that's really important because when you have fresh people, yes, they're excited. Yes, they want to work hard, but they also don't have the efficiency down. And so even though we were reduced, like I said, about 50% of normal hiring per person per hour, I think we were able to do a lot more. And because everyone knew kind of the tools that we were working with, the environment we were working with, we were able to collaborate on like kind of let's think about this. We know what baseline looks like. We know that we can do that. How do we like push the boundaries of what can be even more efficient, even more interesting? So like we were utilizing a lot more skids, a lot more levers, so you can do things when a log is about to fall to kind of direct it into the place where you want it to be. You can use physics, essentially like backcountry physics, to help alleviate certain tensions. Like we brought a scissor jack literally into the woods to jack up the log so that we could change the bind pattern so that we could go through it faster with less effort. Straps, you can you can have two people kind of like pulling up at a log from farther away from different angles. rather than just like having to pick it straight up. You can kind of think of it like a forest diagram, like a triangle. You can put physics to work for you is the best way I can say it.
Is there any part of it that it's like damned if you do and damned if you don't, or it's like if they cut funding to the point where you can only hire half the amount of people, but then the half the amount of people are all returners that are finding ways to do more with less because they're having to think that way. But then the people that are cutting the funding are saying, well, if you look at it, they got the same amount of stuff done. Like, isn't it a double-edged sword where it's if you do things to adapt and make it so that you don't fall behind with the changing climate, the changing climate can also say, well, look, they didn't need all that funding because they did it anyway. Like, isn't there a way where it can not backfire, but do you see what I'm saying with the double-edged sword, where the people that are cutting the funding could look at it and be like, oh, well, they got it done anyway, so what does it matter? You know, is there a downside to being too effective?
That is my biggest fear from this last year, is like, well, we made it work with a skeleton crew. Why did we have all those other people in the first place? Like, we're almost proving that doging worked, even though, like, it's not a sustainable thing. A lot of the people who are helping us out, like, we normally have a full-on packing program. We had to rely a lot more heavily on volunteer packers, which they did a great job, but they can't always be available. We can't expect people to donate all their time to make essential things function. That should be in addition to. That should be addressing, like, these deferred issues rather than needing extra help just to get the bare minimum done. So yeah, that's a huge concern. And I believe also, like, the new model of shared stewardship, which I love that it gets more people into the outdoors. So it's basically like we are trying to up the numbers of volunteers in these recreation maintenance spaces, which is awesome. The more people who participate, the more people know about it, the more that we collectively value it. But also, volunteer labor is not the same as paid professional labor per hour. Like, there's institutional knowledge, there's things that people know about places, things people know about their equipment that just you gain over time. And I'm worried that if we value anyone coming in, it kind of devalues, like, what people have built careers on, you know? So, like, I don't want to tell people don't volunteer. Please come join my crew. Please.
I mean, it sounds like you're just in a shit position regardless.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
We need more people, but we also need more paid professionals. We just need more of everybody all the time.
Yeah.
What's the sentiment of the higher-ups? Do they think they just have to endure this current administration and then things will go back? Or I guess, what can you say on it?
That's above my pay grade. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's become clear that, because, like, some of our funding is federal, and that's definitely been a huge reason why, and I say the PNTA, which I assume I'll have a position with, but also my application hasn't been completely accepted quite yet. Some of those are because of the federal budgetary cuts, but there's also still membership monies. People are donating individually to these organizations, and my guess is that is going to be carried more into the way of the future. Is that, like, we'll be relying a little bit more heavily on crowdsourcing rather than expecting a check, even though the check didn't cover everything and the check was volatile in past times as well.
Yeah.
That's my guess, but I don't really know. I'm not quite qualified to speak on that.
Sure. What would you like to say to someone listening to this who will just assume, like, they're a former thru-hiker, they want to get involved with the volunteer aspect, but they don't have any background in this, they don't have any experience working on a crew, and I assume that there's some sort of, like, intimidating gap there to, like, get out on the trail because they feel like they might be holding things back. What would you like to relay to that person?
I mean, we take volunteer efforts come in all shapes and sizes. That, like, you're not bringing in any of your own equipment necessarily. So someone has hiked a thru-hike, so they have the ability to set aside time and money to be in the outdoors recreating. They're capable of walking distances and carrying heavy things like their backpack. You're set. Like, the barrier to entry is way below that. We have we have children, we have grandparents, like anyone can participate. There are activities, and you will be directed by whatever organization is most accessible to you to things that fit your needs or fits your skill set. Do you want to progress in things, or do you want to just work with what you bring to the table? Like lopping doesn't require a PhD.
Lopping?
Loppers, like bypass loppers are mostly what we use, which would be two-handed. They kind of look like a beak, like a crow's beak at the front, and you just snip things with that.
Let's say I'm planning my 2026 and I'm looking at my PTO that I have for work, and I've got time where I could do some sort of volunteering, be it 3 days, 5 days a week. Where do I start? Let's say all I know is, hey, I have some time I could spare. I'm willing to get involved somewhere with something.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about taking that and narrowing it down and getting your hat in the ring, and just from the initial idea of wanting to do something to actually being out there and doing it?
Do you have an idea of where you would like to be? Because like where you want a vacation, there's probably volunteer opportunities in those locations. There's probably trail organizations that operate there. So you can, that's probably also the best way you're going to get local knowledge about where are the best places to hike, where are the best places to eat. So I would say kind of plan a little vacation. What region of the country, or I can't speak to the world, but like if you wanted to be in, say, the Southeast, there's a bunch of trail clubs down there. If you wanted to hike a section of one of those trails, I bet you're even going to get logistics support. Because if you're reaching out and you're like, hey, I want to do a section of the Benton Mackay, and you're talking to people who know that area, who want your help doing a few days of work there, maybe they'll give you rides so you don't have to do out and backs. Maybe you can do loop hikes. Like that's a key in that you got there because you've preemptively offered your time and energy.
So, okay, let's go the Southeast mindset. Let's say I want to do the Southeast. I find the Georgia Appalachian Trail Club.
Mm-hmm.
Do I just send them an email and I'm like, hey, I've got a week free during this time. Do you need a volunteer? Or do I also include like, I'm not from here. I don't have anywhere to sleep. I don't have any resources when I get there. I'm going to need a ride from the airport. Or how do people go about finding something that fits, not having anything there themselves?
For most of these clubs, there's a volunteer coordinator position. So I know like PNTA, we have a volunteer coordinator. There's usually in volunteerism like a drop down and an about us, and there's a reach out here kind of thing. So I would start there. If it's small enough that there isn't a designated volunteer coordinator, then chances are the organization is probably small enough that just reaching out to whatever email they give you is gonna work. But if it's big enough that they, like the GATC probably has a designated person or even multiple people who help facilitate that.
It sounds a lot more approachable with the explanation than just having a gray, fuzzy, not knowing what to do. Another question, I know with certain organizations, there's a cost involved to volunteer or signups fill up quickly for certain weeks. Is that something that you've noticed with what you're doing, is like a pay-to-play type of thing? That way you're covering your food and board, or a sign up by a certain time to make sure that you can get a spot to volunteer in the time frame that you can?
I think maybe that's a Colorado, maybe other places as well. I think the Colorado 14ers, they're pretty they have a lot of interest, and so they structure it that way because they have to honestly not curtail it. They have to organize it. Other places, I think it depends on whether food is offered. Sometimes they ask you to cover your own food just because there's so many different dietary preferences. But for example, when we have volunteers on my crew, they get asked, do you want to eat crew food or do you want to bring your own? If they want to bring your own, then we, as the crew leads who are buying for the crew, get an extra part in our budget, and then we just make, incorporate them into everything. We had this guy Mark show up for 4 days, and all he did was, he actually brought his own crosscut because he's cool like that. But you could just show up. We'll give you a helmet. We'll give you all the PPE you need. You have your own tent generally, but we do have some loaner things. And I'm saying this from the PNTA because I assume other places operate somewhat similarly. There's probably some variation. But it could be a very low barrier to entry.
Yeah.
It could be you would have to reach out individually to these different places and see what they can and can't offer. And if it's not protocol to offer like a tent, there might be someone who works there who's like, well, I do have a loaner tent you can just borrow.
Yeah. Okay, last one from me in terms of if anyone's interested. If anyone is interested and this has given them enough information where they think it seems more approachable, I might do this. What could a person, and we could talk about it from the PNTA aspect since that's what you're most familiar with, but what can a person expect in terms of what a day looks like from wake up to sleep? Like I wake up, this is my day, and then I go to sleep.
So we can tailor it. If you want to be exactly like a crew member, like we'll work you that hard. We'll tell you when we're starting work and when we're taking breaks and when we're taking lunch. But generally, like you're offering to be there. So we'll give you an outline of what we're doing for the day, and then you can kind of pick and choose like, oh, I actually want to take an hour-long lunch, or I actually want to leave. I want to walk back to camp early. And we'll just dock that from the overall volunteer hours provided. Like you went back to camp, you did this many hours of work. We'll note that. But like you could do half days of work. You could leave a day early if that fits better with your schedule. We're just thankful that you're out there.
When you say docking it from the hours, I'm thinking back to like high school where we needed to get community service hours to graduate. Are there people that are choosing to do trail work as a way to get like volunteer hours for things that they would need to track it?
The only way that I've interacted with that is like the Bow Alps, where they had to do 8 hours of stuff to get their little certificate. Mostly it's that like when people volunteer, it equates to a certain dollar value of funding that the organization gets. And so we're tracking it for those reasons.
Got it. Because I was like, fucking dock me the hour. What do I care?
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
Just so less hours means less funding, or more hours means.
Yeah.
How does that work? The more hours I volunteer, the more funding you get.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting.
So if someone wanted to match your schedule, they're volunteering and they wanted to do a day in the life of Fancy Feast, what does that look like?
That would generally, that would be, the exact specifics would be more volunteer coordinator stuff. Like I know we don't get paid for like meal prep, and we don't get paid for lunch hours, but then sometimes volunteer hours are valued a little bit differently because like they get paid for driving time to get to the location because they went that far out of their way. So there might be some differences, but generally like we're working 10 hours on the clock.
Okay.
What time are you waking up?
It depends on how hot it is. Maybe 6:30, somewhere in that range usually.
How tiring is a 10-hour day of trail work relative to a 10-hour day of backpacking?
Well, 10-hour day of usually backpacking days end up being a little bit longer. So I'd say I do like less overall hours of work, but it uses a lot more muscle groups. Like if you're going hard double jacking, so that's like the sledgehammer, like you're crushing rocks, you're going to be quite fatigued. There's a lot more potential for like upper body overuse injuries. You want to switch out tasks a little bit faster, but then you also want to be in the zone. So I'd say, a good hard day of trail crew is going to make you much more sore than 10 hours of hiking.
Yeah. Cool. Let's talk Hayduke.
Cool.
What brought you to the Hayduke?
An Instagram friend, which was somewhat facilitated by Backpacker Radio.
Go on.
So
Zach's pumping his own tires here.
Exactly.
No.
I'm going to tee this up. So I loved the Arizona Trail southern portion. I was like, I need to get back to the southwest. I had my eyes set on the Grand Enchantment Trail because my understanding was that that's somewhat approachable as a route. Like there's known information that's publicly available. Brett Tucker worked pretty hard to make water sources as frequent as they can be in the desert, and the town carries aren't too terrible. So I was on the, not roster, but like the sign-up sheet essentially for that, like an online trail log to say, hey, I'm doing this. Who else wants to do it with me? And because of that, and also I was trying to gather beta, so I listened to the Constantine episode, and he was like, oh, he's hiked the Grand Enchantment Trail and the Arizona Trail. Maybe I can get a little cross comparison. Started looking through his Instagram because he was pretty good at posting trail journal stuff. And there's this troll. This guy keeps going on there and shit talking him. And I was like, who is this dude? So I looked at this other guy's Instagram, and it's him doing like a beer chug, he's chugging out of his beer canister at the Pacific Ocean. Like a shoey, but like the remnants, all the little gross bits that end up down there. And I was like, oh, this is funny. So I started following him. And then a couple days later, like I'm on the Grand Enchantment Trail thing.
Wait, pause. Is he shit talking in an endearing way, or is he just fucking ripping on this dude?
It was, you could tell that there was love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could tell that they had a rapport. It's not just like
it's like an internet troll.
Yeah, not like it's not a malicious thing.
Okay.
But also like the kind of banter and shit talking
that like is fun.
That could be
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is horsepower.
Oh. Okay.
So like a couple days later, I get an Instagram message to be like, "Hey, like, are you the Fancy Feast that was on Backpacker Radio? Do you want to hike the Grand Enchantment Trail?" And I was like, someone knows my name. A Triple Crowner knows my name. So I was like, yes, that's me. And so he starts putting in the idea, well, what if we did the Hayduke? I was like, oh, I'm not ready for that. Not at all ready for that. Like that takes a lot more logistics and trail planning things than I have currently under my belt. He's like, well, what if maybe I can convince you? Maybe the logistics aren't that hard. Maybe you don't have to bury food or water. What if we just did it? And I was like, like your credentials, your calendar year Triple Crown does speak volumes, but also I'm not convinced. He's like, let me make a PowerPoint. So
he made you a PowerPoint?
He made the best. Well, he's like, give me 90 minutes. I'll convince you. So he like writes up the funniest fucking PowerPoint. I wish I had sent it earlier, so you can have a look-see.
You gotta send it after.
Absolutely. He's got like graphs and testimonials and everything. It's just like a parody of a PowerPoint, and I was like, honestly, sold. Like this person they can make do with. I think it was 90 minutes to make a PowerPoint. He's like, definitely got his shit together. He's very entertaining. Maybe this will work. And so I was convinced to arrive. I think I took a couple buses. I got to Moab at like 11 p.m. He's just like cowboyed on someone's back porch and is like, sup, we're going to go hike 800 miles in the desert together.
So it was just you two?
It was just us two. And then I guess he had heard my Backpacker Radio story in 21, so he knew that I was a real human, a real hiker, and not just like some person on the internet, like someone aspiring to hike a trail who had not hiked anything before. So there was that little connection back and forth of like Constantine having his Backpacker Radio episode, me having some little tidbit that fostered a lifelong connection.
That's crazy.
So did I miss something? So this starts with you look at someone's Instagram, you see someone's talking shit.
Yep.
You follow who's talking shit because it's funny.
Yep.
They message you. They're like, hey, I recognize your name. Do you want to hike the Grand Enchantment Trail? Actually, the Hayduke. It was really that, like, that. That's it.
Yeah.
That's fucking
nailed
funny. That's funny. I like horsepower, man.
Yeah, we saw him at Trail Days last year. I'm surprised that didn't come up. Maybe it came up. I don't remember, but that's hilarious. Yeah.
How's the reality versus expectation?
The reality was no obstacle was completely insurmountable, but it was always a different obstacle every single day. It was,
I was talking about horsepower.
Oh, him. Sorry. I was like, whoa, what is this about?
But yeah, let's go down that one first.
Okay.
So the Hayduke, reality versus expectation.
Yeah, I guess the expectation is like it's gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a lot more technical in like the physically challenging, like clambering up and down rock sense, and there was actually limited amounts of that. I've been doing a bunch of peak bagging in the North Cascades, and I was like, I'm good at navigating. Like, I can get up some class 4 stuff. Like, let's do this. And, I mean, I'm glad that it wasn't more technically challenging because that would have been too much in a place where it was already, like, snowing multiple times and long food carries and water fiascos and all that stuff. But there was a lot more different sucks. I thought I'd get used to the one challenge and I'd learn to cope with it and I would come out with all these skills, but I was like, I feel like none of my skills are relevant because it keeps changing.
So what were some of the top challenges?
There was definitely some routing that had to do with snow. I didn't expect it to snow. My head was, it's going to be warm for some reason. Horsepower, I was like, yeah, the year you did the AZT, because it was cold in the northern section for me. I think it got down to the teens. He was like, yeah, that was anomalous. Like, it's probably, I had a really good time, and I went after you. That was just a cold spell. So I was like, okay. I'm trying to pack light because there's going to be long food and water carries. I did not have enough layers. And even when I layered up, it still was like on the fringe, because still you're trying to balance that weight stuff. I did not expect it to snow that many times.
What month did you do this?
October to early November.
Okay.
Is that typical, or is that a...
Honestly, I didn't do a whole lot of research for this one. I bought the book, and then I learned how to use Gaia while I was out there.
Okay.
Sounds like you might also have a good poop story from this one.
Oh yeah, I was trying to like keep my vegetables light, so I was bringing greens powder, but that also, I've heard it called the doo-doo powder. Yeah. Is that
it's been a while.
An accurate thing?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So I was like munching on that. And then in the morning, I was like packing up my tent. Horsepower had already left. It was already like a really stressful day because I'd lost him for a few hours. That happened a couple times on the Hayduke, where he just like wander off the wrong way. And I was like, I have no idea where this man is. Because it's not like there's a trail. You can't really, I mean, there's a route. You could go up and down it. But like, he could have taken a wrong turn literally anywhere.
Yeah.
So that was already stressful, maybe added to the gut biome thing. In the morning, he's already left. I think we're trying to make miles towards Escalante or something. I'm in the middle of packing up my tent, and I'm like, oh, nope, I can't finish packing up my tent. So I like do the dig a hole after the fact kind of thing, barely get to my shorts in time. The wind is whipping. Right. I was also stressed because my tent fell down multiple times during the night. I was using a Durston, first gen trekking pole tent. So like it's windy. I'm in my rain jacket. I'm out of toilet paper. So I'm using the map. There's like pulling pages out of this book and like spitting on it to make it like sort of wet wipe texture. And then like the wind picks up and I fall over into my own very, very green like splat. It's just all over. And then I'm low on hand sandy too. So I'm just like, fuck, I'm getting this day get better. And
the day hadn't even started yet.
I think that's just par for the Hayduke course. Like new mysteries every single day. You're always coping with something different. And there was a lot of just like yelling fuck and into the wind, just like but you can't do anything. Like that doesn't help anything. Like I'm just don't touch my hands to anything else for a few hours, I guess, until I finally catch up to him and bum some hand sandy.
What's it like wiping your ass with a guidebook?
Like I said, you gotta spit on it first. Otherwise it doesn't do very well. Spit on that thing. Exactly.
The new Haktua.
But yeah, in a pinch, because like we'd already gone through those parts of the trail, so it was always like the old it's paragraph style description. I don't know if you're familiar with the Hayduke guidebook, but it's like, and then we saw a goat, and like it's way drawn out. There's a lot of pages to this map set, and a lot of instructions, so you go through them fairly fast, and then there's a lot of pages where like, well, this is useless, I went there. So yeah, you kind of like, it needs to be hydrated.
Yeah, no, I mean,
otherwise it just kind of like smears it around. You need it to absorb somehow. Yeah,
that's just resourceful. I mean, yeah,
I guess because you're packing everything out anyway. Reminder, if you're in the desert, and really you could be anywhere, packing out your teepee is the more LMNT responsible option. So if I was already packing it out, it didn't matter whether it was actual toilet paper or wet wipes or whatever. Like it's all going in the same Ziploc.
Sure. To Chauncey's, I think, original question, what was it like hiking with horsepower?
He's unflappable. The descriptor that I lovingly use for him is cartoonishly all-American. Like he knows what he wants, he knows what he doesn't want. He's pretty vocal about those things. And as long as he's getting the things that he originally wanted, like everything's good in life. And sometimes it was really, really frustrating because he'd be like, wow, like that sucks. He lost it a couple times, but for the most part, like I think he was more internally okay with his rhythm, and so the external factors, like he was able to cope with them a little bit better, whereas I'm always still trying to optimize my hiking, or like I'm thinking about how things could be different or how I could be improving. And so because there's kind of like this little chaos bubble, the outside chaos affects me more. So yeah, especially when he like would not. I'm thinking of one time where he missed the turnoff that the guidebook very, very clearly said, and he just like continued on this route that actually ended up connecting. But I was freaking out because I didn't see his footprints, and I ran up and down this hill, this cliff essentially, multiple times, being like, where did this man go? He didn't pass the point where like I needed him to. There's very soft sand here, and he was just munching away on his lunch like, oh, I figured you'd show up eventually, when I came in like hours later.
Yeah. Would you recommend, if you're doing the Hayduke with a partner, having like you both having satellite communicators so there's some form of connection between the two of you? Because I could see that being really challenging, especially like if there's not a trail, there's not like a unified place where you could even meet up. Like you can get lost in totally different directions. I imagine that being frustrating and challenging.
Yeah, I mean, I would be worried if you were like relying on that a little bit too much. You're like, oh, it's okay, we're separated because we both have Garmin's. Whereas like, you know, someone could have conked their head. Like probably having closer visual or having more explicit meetup plans is useful. I at the time had a one-way satellite communicator, so I had a spot device and he had a Garmin. So like I could have SOS'd for help, but I couldn't have reached out to him in any way.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounded like this was a challenging hike. Did you end up loving the off-trail adventure? Did you find out more that wasn't for you, somewhere in the middle?
It's made everything else way easier.
Yeah.
Like I love the Mogollon Rim Trail because I was like, oh, this isn't the Hayduke.
Yeah.
It's hard because like the Hayduke is so aesthetic and it's so pretty, it's so photogenic, and some parts of that because it's so remote. It's so like how few people are seeing this exact site, or like you're walking through this slot canyon for so many miles. Yeah, that's definitely a huge part of it. But in the moment, I got overwhelmed. Maybe I do have aspirations of going back and hiking the Hayduke again. I know it would be a totally different experience, either in a different season or with less snow or with different people. But at least like my baseline fear level would maybe be a little bit allayed just because I know roughly where it goes. Like I know that I've been there before. I know that I've seen it before, and I could maybe enjoy it a little bit. Yeah. In the moment, there were a lot of times where like, this is type 2 fun. This is type 2 fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've asked this because I just ran to the bathroom, but did you ask, would you hike with horsepower again after this experience?
Well, horsepower is not, I don't know how much he's going to hike again.
Oh yeah, did he get injured?
His back's all messed up. It was messed up on the Hayduke too.
Was it? Yeah. I remember he talked about it in his interview, but I thought he had like powered through it or something.
I mean, he's done much more healing than I think any initial prognosis would suggest. And whether he eventually gets back into thru hiking, like, or he just hiked the Buckeye Trail, but mostly in runs, mostly in weekend sessions. Yeah.
So that doesn't answer it. Would you hike
with
him again?
Sorry. He was fun. Yeah. We have different ideas of what town time should look like. So maybe in a place where we could explore those each independently. Like if there's more trail community or other people also hiking around kind of thing, rather than like just this one individual person. Like, for example, in Escalante, one of the ways that he manages so many tasks, in my opinion, is that he has less things on his list. He like does the same thing every time. We go to the hotel. We get the case of Mountain Dew. Dr. Pepper. He's a huge Dr. Pepper guy. The case of Dr. Pepper, case of some sort of light beer, because he can't drink IPAs. His little tummy gets hurt.
He's drinking a full case of Dr. Pepper?
Yeah. No, he has an insatiable appetite for Dr. Pepper. It's absurd.
That's so funny. Can he tolerate Mr. Pibb?
I don't think he does anything but the doctor.
Okay.
Dr. P. So he's getting his thing, he's getting his hot pockets, he's getting to the hotel, and he is chilling. He's not doing his laundry if he absolutely have to. And that's how he's doing his Instagram stuff. But like that's how he manages stuff. And me, I'm like, well, this is a new place. This is a new environment. Everything is different. I just treat it always as a novel experience, even though it would probably be like less stress on me to have some sort of routine. I'm like, well, what is the food here like? Well, what is there to do in this town? Well, I want to talk to the locals, and I just get pulled in so many directions, which like I say it as if it's a bad habit, but I also do love that part of myself. And so I think if we had more opportunities to explore that independently, again, if it was a trail with more people going on, he'd probably go so far ahead of me, though, that I'd never catch up. The only reason we stayed together is because he was waiting for my slow ass.
Here's a question. If you're someone, you're giving advice to someone, right? Someone's listening to this. They want to do a trail. They don't have anyone to do it with. They find someone online that also listens to Backpacker Radio and has hiked. And they're like, ooh, this worked for Fancy Feast. Maybe it'll work for me, right? What kinds of questions should a person ask a stranger? And like skip past like the safety, they're not going to kill you out there, like questions of just making sure that they're a sane, stable human. But let's say, okay, they vet out in terms of everything checks out, right? What kind of questions should you ask after having done this? Or do you wish you asked after having done this to make sure that it's a good fit?
I actually asked these questions of my current boyfriend before we went on our first date. So I was like, well, what's the biggest mileage day you've ever done? What's the longest like number of hours you've hiked? Like not trying to
Is this guy a hiker?
He's been through hiking the PNT.
Okay. Imagine it's just a random guy you meet in town. So how many miles do you hike?
Yeah, sorry. This is a Tinder conversation, but he's a section hiker on the PNT, aspiring to hike something through in its entirety when he has the time. But like, yeah, asking kind of these maximum questions like, what is your longest day? And not trying to have a bragging competition, but like, what does a typical day schedule look like for you? How do you want to be hiking with someone? If you're hiking with a partner, does that mean you're hiking every mile with a partner? Are you more of like a meet up at lunch person? Is it as long as we get to the campsite that we've designated in the beginning at completely different times? Does that count as hiking together to you? Like what exactly are you looking for in this hiking partnership? I had similar questions. I started the PCT southbound in 21 with a girl that I met at the gear shop in Vermont at Oge. Shout out to Oge. And she had just come off of training for an ultra. So we kind of made plans to stick roughly close to each other for the first few weeks, especially since I had a contact in the area and we were both going to go to this contact's house and like reset veg. It was wonderful. And I think the loose understanding was that we were going to at some point part ways, although we didn't make that one explicit. And I did kind of like keep trying to catch up to her. But sorry, back to your original question, trying to figure out structure of the day wise, structure of the hike wise, like how much are you looking for this to be togetherness? And if it is togetherness, like how much do our existing patterns line up?
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have anything to add? What you should ask a stranger? I would say, what do you consider a full hiking day mileage wise versus a Nero? Because like on a
15's a Nero.
Exactly. So on a going into town day, if it's 12 miles or less, like we're getting into town by 1. But like if I'm in New England on the AT and I've just hiked from Georgia, 13 miles is taking me all fucking day, on that landscape. And I think you can assess your own skill level based on the landscape of what trail you're hiking, but it's good to know if the person you're hiking with thinks that a 13-mile day in the whites is a Nero. Because for me, I'm getting there when the sun's like getting close to setting. Like that's a lot of fucking vertical climb for me. And I think that would help with things like planning days off. Because if we're planning to do a Nero in town and hike out the next morning, and then you tell me that it's what a full day for me is, I'm not actually getting a break. So I'll add that one on. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are all good considerations. The big thing is I just want to make sure someone listening to this is factoring in, like, is this a trail that needs a hiking partner? Like the Hayduke, obviously, there's different safety considerations that, like, don't exist in the AT or the PCTs. And I just see this through the trek so often that people think that they need to start with a hiking partner, whereas, like, those are two trails, especially northbound, where, like, that's completely unnecessary. So just the first question to ask yourself is, like, do I need a hiking partner for this trail? If yes to that, then I think you guys covered it.
I agree. I think starting the AT without a hiking partner was probably the best decision I ever made. Not that people were jumping at the bit to hike, the AT and start with me. But technically I started with someone, but we weren't hiking together. Like, it was very much just like a we're splitting a ride from the airport type of thing. But I do agree that one, like, I see a lot of people going into the AT with fear of going alone. And it's like the second you get out there, it's going to be like you packed something you realized you didn't need the second you stepped on trail.
Right.
Cool.
But obviously, Hayduke is a very different story.
I mean, plenty of people do start or finish the Hayduke solo. Like, right in front of us, Lila Shug, she was right, like, sometimes less than 24 hours in front. Never saw her until the very, very end, but she was doing it all solo, and it sounds like she had a great time doing it. Like, definitely there were some sketchy sections, but, like, even these more challenging, higher quote-unquote risk trails can be accomplished solo if that's something you're seeking and something that you have the navigational and skill competence to do. And that that level kind of raises with experience. Like, I felt very comfortable approaching the Mogollon Rim solo, even though I would have loved to hike with other people. I'm kind of at that stage where, like, I want to hike with people, just my objectives are not places where people often are. Like, I wasn't trying to hike the Allegheny Trail solo. There just, like, wasn't anyone heading my direction wanting to hike my pace, and so therefore I'm hiking solo. CDT southbound, same thing. Like, I wouldn't recommend, especially if it's one of your newer hikes, that you would start in August and that you hike all the way until Colorado without seeing another Sobo. But, like, I could go through, like, the winds and the ultras there solo because I felt comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I think for me, I like hiking with someone because I don't like camping alone. Because I get spooked out camping alone, and I like the social aspect at camp. So for me, it's like I don't care if you spend a minute with me during the hiking day or you don't. In fact, it'll probably stress me out less if you don't hike with me because I'll worry about my pace, and then I'll go too fast and you'll go too slow. We'll both be bummed. But I care strongly.
You old bag.
I care very strongly about having someone at camp so that we can decompress and, like, hang out, and it can just, like, lighten the mood a bit, and then you have that peace of mind at night that someone else is there. So I think figuring out why you want someone with you and then articulating that's important. I don't need more job in my ears. I'm going to have all the job in my ears on Friday.
Yeah.
Thursday,
yeah.
Exciting.
Day after tomorrow, we're doing guy stuff.
Give your questions.
Yeah, I've been filling out these show notes for like 6 months. I put a call out on Instagram. I thought of some good ones at like 2 a.m. last night. I woke up with a thought in my mind, jotted them down.
You're gonna get answers on this one. That much I can guarantee you.
Yeah. It's the hardest thing has been like keeping it trail related and not just being like, Jabba, tell me the weirdest fucking sex stories you have. So
we got to make sure to get them nice and lubed up for this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Oh, let's talk about the Ice Age Trail.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I was inspired by you guys.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, did it live up to the hype?
Can you tell the Wisconsin Tourism Board that?
I think.
We're on their naughty list.
Oh, wait, why?
Just a
Jabba.
bad live podcast performance.
I say Jabba, it was us too. But mostly Jabba.
It was mostly you two, if we're being honest about it.
It was you two because you gave me alcohol when I shouldn't have been served anymore. And I trust you.
Yeah, that was my fault.
It was all of us.
Trail.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that part of the world. I will say I was doing it as like a shakeout, a 1,200-mile shakeout for the PCT and the CDT that I aspired to hike the next year. I was trying to test my gear, like a DCF tent, waterproof pack, all that stuff. And that was one of the reasons that I had a really hard time in the beginning, is because I was treating the whole thing like a training for something else. Like, I wasn't there present in the moment. Intellectually I knew that, and I kept trying to force myself to be like, appreciate the landscape, appreciate the people. But I was like, I don't really like this. It's just a lumpy trail. Like, where it's single track, I thought it was going to be these like impressive geologic structures, which it is, but you can't see it underneath like all the trees and other junk that has grown up on top. You can only really notice like the geomorphological features, the Ice Age era features when you're looking at a topo map. It doesn't really stand out when you're walking on, say, like a Kame or an Esker. It just all feels lumpy. Also, it was a weird, it was a high acorn mass season. So there was like a bunch of acorns, and all the squirrels were picking them at the same time. So at night when you're sleeping in your tent, it's just dunk, 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 dunk. Like, I thought it was an animal. I thought it was a bear, of course, every single night. And it was just squirrels with their goddamn acorns.
Harper would love this hike.
Yeah, but it's not every year. Like, the way that squirrels, I don't know if it's tied with squirrels, but, like, it kind of does the boom and bust thing, if you remember from, like, high school biology, where, like, the acorns will overproduce so that nothing can possibly eat all of them. And then they'll not produce nearly that much the next season. So, like, all these other animals, they'll get, like, extra mating opportunities, but then there'll be a starvation period following. And that's how they stay ultimately in a dynamic balance. So, not every year is going to be that kind of year.
It's been a while since I've mentioned this book. One of my go-to faves, The Secret Life of Trees. I think they do talk about that acorn cycle in there. I remember it being really interesting.
In the most objective way possible, how much of the Wisconsin cheese did you get to experience?
Ooh, I mean, that was the reason that I hiked in the fall, is because I heard, Emily Ford hiking in the winter. That seems insane.
Yeah.
That was insane. I think Buck 30 hiked in the summer. Most of the other people hike in the summer, and I was like, that sounds stupid. It's like hot and humid and on asphalt, and people have to do water caches. So on their like Trail Angel sheet, they'll say what services they offer, and there's a lot of people offering water cache opportunities. I was like, foliage seems like the time to be there, and also it's cheese season. You can pack out cheese and you can eat the cheese on the trail.
Yeah, I see cheese season in the notes, and I needed to know what that meant. So this isn't like a Wisconsin specific season where they have more cheese. This is just the time that the cheese is best to pack out.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's not summer and it's not winter.
I really was eager to hear about Wisconsin's cheese season and what that entailed.
Cheese talk.
More cheese.
Yeah, get that 5-year.
I'm a little disappointed that
cheddar.
none of us has started farting, but
We haven't had that much. I can open another one if you want.
so how did it compare, the cheese?
My understanding going to Wisconsin was that they just produced a lot of cheese. It didn't have to be quality, it was just quantity. They whenever you get the Surefine blocks or whatever store brand, it's usually like made in Wisconsin. So I was like, okay, let's see what their cheese is really about. I will say they mostly make like cheddar and Munster and the other like big generic cheeses, but I did find a new favorite. I do actually have a very high, possibly the highest place in my heart for Sartori. Sartori Bellavitano. It is a cheddar that does in fact rival Cabot for first place. Flagship is also up there. But yeah, part of the reason, so I'm out there.
Is that the brand or is that a type of cheese?
Sartori is the brand, and then Bellavitano Gold is like the just generic cheddar. It's hard to find in other places. They sell Sartori, but it's usually like the Merlot rub or like some other sort of flavor thing on top of it, which is good too.
I feel really dirty opening so many of these.
That's why I brought them all.
I know, but then you got to actually use it within a certain amount of time. But I really wanted to taste
Will
this
you be able
one.
to eat all these? Because you said you're taking them as leftovers, as you should. I just want to make sure that we're not spoiling your future cheese consumption.
No, you should take as many like pieces of these blocks as you would like. Just the leftovers. I'll probably have like a cheese party. We'll have some sort of solstice eat.
I wish
your
we had
lactose.
Any sort of Ziploc bags here. I'll rummage through to see if anyone else
that would be good.
does. Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, the tail end of Ice Age. So it started out being, wow, this is silly. I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. Why am I here? Also, like, I had sort of been dating this guy, and I left just to go hike a trail that was kind of stupid. And I was like, why did I leave just to be here?
Yeah.
But then the charm of the Ice Age Trail maybe...
Did you cut yourself?
No, I just got a whiff of it. Sorry. It was just really... Sorry. I wasn't going to say anything. Zach caught it.
The smell can't be amazing if I mistook that for you impaling your body.
It was just a delayed scent.
Overwhelming.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
This is
does have a
relevant
pukiness to it.
Here, smell the whole thing.
But it's
some
delicious.
things I haven't had before. Like this one, I don't think I've tried before.
It was just like it took a second for the wind to make it up to me.
It's very vinegary.
It's tasty. I like this. Smell the full thing. It smells like puke.
That's because of the vinegar. Like buffalo is a vinegar-based sauce, and puke is quite.
Oh my god!
acidic.
No, now I'm tasting puke. This one's not for me.
Okay, it's got buffalo in it though.
I know it looked like the best one, but now that we're talking about the scent of puke and I'm tasting it, that's all I'm tasting.
Oh no.
That was good.
Okay, beer.
We're on other ends of the
Palate
spectrum here.
cleanser.
Maybe I like puke. I don't know.
No, that one's not for me.
It is a little spicy too.
That one's not for me.
Doesn't
So
have to
sorry,
be.
you were saying something great.
Something amazing. The reason I'll chew away from here. the redeeming value of the Ice Age Trail came when I started, one, treating it as its own experience and not a preamble to something else, and two, I started more aggressively utilizing the Trail Angel network. So for the Ice Age Trail particularly, they have like a PDF of people who live along the trail corridor who are offering their services, but it is held by the Ice Age Trail Alliance. Like, it's not publicly available. You have to reach out and request it. I didn't even know it existed until I had found someone who fairly early on was involved in one of the chapters, and she's like, oh, you should ask about this thing. And so from there, at first I was like, well, I'll like kind of only use it as a last resort. Like, if I'm in really dire straits, it's really good to have this backup. And kind of quickly I started realizing, oh, like, I can make this way more fun, both for myself and for the people who like never see the full through hikers. Like, it's usually section hikers. It's usually people from Wisconsin who have their own kind of support team, section packing, slack packing a lot of sections. Like, I am kind of a novelty. Like, it's not me like mooching off them necessarily, as long as I'm offering something back in return. Maybe that's just listening. Maybe that's some interesting stories. Maybe I'm offering to help cook with something. Like, it's okay to reach out to these people and ask to stay at their house. Like, they don't hate you for it. Yeah. They actually really, really like it sometimes. And so that made all the difference in the world. I started, one, making it my personal mission to catalog all the eateries, specifically like all the breweries that weren't marked, and all the places like, oh, there's a far out icon here, maybe 3 miles this direction, there's a convenience store, let's put that on there. Let's have all the possible information, so hopefully someone else hiking in the future has like a little bit more resources. And then let's also try to reach out and like stay with a whole bunch of different trail angels, get to know their stories, get to know what it's like living along this section versus this other section, what connections they have to land. There was one really awesome overnight experience. I had a full-on zero in Baraboo because this lady is like, oh, I'll show you around places. Like, you should aim to take a zero here. You're not imposing. Like, I want to escort you around my hometown. I want to take you to the winery. We got to go to the cidery. We got to go to the cheese place. We got to go to the Good Oak. So Aldo Leopold's farm, like, homestead thing where he resuscitated the land using kind of...
That's cool.
Regenerative agriculture. He rehabilitated an over-farmed area, and there's one vignette in his book, Sand County Almanac, which is like one of my favorite books of all time, talking about this oak that got struck by lightning and fell over, and he's counting as he goes through, as they're like cutting with the crosscut through these different layers of the oak, what's happening both locally and in the world every year. It's just a really powerful, very short little story, and I got to see where the stump used to be. Until like maybe a few decades ago, there was actual residue of said stump. Now it's just a plaque. It's fully disintegrated. But he was, I think he died in the 40s. Like, it was a while ago. Yeah.
I feel like Vermont and Wisconsin are siblings, like similar vibes. People are very nice. Obviously, cheese, beer. What was your take between your home state and Wisconsin? I think Vermont takes the cake in natural beauty.
I think of Vermont, like, the geography is more of a cradle. Like, you're always downhill or uphill of something. You're always kind of nestled in some sort of either next to the greens or the Piedmont, like the subsidiary ranges. And it's always easy to navigate because those things kind of run north-south. You're like, oh, where's the mountains? That must be north. So there's that kind of aspect. There is and I didn't get to experience the cities all that much in Wisconsin. I think... Like, you go around Madison, you go around Milwaukee, but I didn't go into any of those. The cities in Vermont, at least, are dominated by a lot of liberals, a lot of people who have liberal ideas who move there from other places in the Northeast to kind of live with like-minded people, and they perpetuate that population. A lot of, like, second homeowners who come up there, a lot of people who went to school in the UVM. And I feel like Wisconsin is like parts of Vermont, like the Northeast Kingdom, which is a little bit more conservative roots, who have a little bit more like families who've been there generation after generation. That's my take. And then also the landscape being flatter. Like, it's lumpy, but it's not high relief.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not getting sprawling vistas really at any point. Yeah. Okay. Anything else about Ice Age Trail you want to relay?
I think if I were to recommend it, if someone wanted to thru hike it, ending around Halloween was a good time. Like whatever pace you think you're going to hike, set it back enough that you end around Halloween. Any later, and like I had snow my last day. It was only a little bit, but it was starting to get pretty cold. Earlier than that, you run into a lot of heat issue. Oh, not earlier than Halloween, but like August and stuff, you start to run into more heat issues, water issues, because there are some long carries. I just didn't feel like they were long because it was cold and I wasn't carrying that much, or like I wasn't going through that much. In those instances, you can reach out to the trail angels and do the water caching thing, but that starts to become more of a factor. Also, bugs. I didn't have very many bugs, and earlier, like summer, it's pretty bad, I hear.
Yeah, I mean, from my experience in both the Northwoods and in Madison, the mosquitoes can be hell. So, yeah, you're smart on you to do it in fall as opposed to summer for that reason.
Oh, and direction as well. I started on the west side, and I went east. I think most people end the other direction because it's more beautiful on like St. Croix area. It's a lot more rural. That's where the dominant single track is. I will also note they say that it's about, I think, 50-50 roads and trails, but that doesn't take into account that a lot of the trails are like rail trails. They are hard, fairly durable surfaces that have that same effect on your feet. So realistically, it's an even higher percentage that are roads. Logistics are really tricky. If you're not able, like, there are a lot of times where I was setting up on the only parcel of public land within like a 30-mile distance, and that wasn't actually zoned for camping. Yeah. It might have been a state wildlife area or some other thing that like, explicitly says don't camp here. But if you're camping on the on the parking lot, like, are you really impacting the surface? Are you impacting other people's experience if you're leaving before it gets light in the morning? So like that's definitely a huge consideration if you are not trying to pump those big miles, that you might either have to arrange shuttles ahead of time, or I mean, some of those there wouldn't even be an indoor place to stay. I don't know what you would do, really.
Yeah. Trance brings up a good point here. We've been having too much fun. You probably have to leave to catch your flights somewhat soon.
Oh, what time is it?
7:45.
Oh, my flight's at 10:30, and I probably
takes like an hour-ish to get to the airport. Probably board about 30 minutes early. Gives you about an hour.
I forgot Denver does that.
Yeah. Denver does do that.
I hate to be the killer of good times, but I would also hate to be the cause of you missing a flight.
Agreed.
Fair.
Well, there's still a lot of meat on the bone here.
Yeah,
so
Fancy Feast 3.
Just go write your book and then come back and we'll help you plug it.
Yep.
But let's end with the sponsor question. This is the Stay Salty question presented by Element. Use our URL drinklmnt.com/trek for a free sample pack with your order. What's your hottest take in the world of backpacking or outdoors at large?
There's two. One's going to piss a lot of people off.
Let's do that one.
Yeah, I like that.
Or both of them.
Okay. This is like, I recognize the innate hypocrisy of saying this on a podcast, but there's like an entitlement of attention that I think is something that goes on in the thru community. Like, you're interacting with someone in town, you're interacting with someone who's giving you a hitch, and you're like, my thing is cooler than your thing, and therefore I deserve all the air in the room. I deserve all the... Like, you're expecting them to ask you questions about what you're doing and where you came from. And it's fair, you have fielded a lot of those questions in the past, and many people, unprompted, ask those kinds of things. But, like, that doesn't have to be the default setting. You're not... We need to sometimes have a little bit less main character energy and reciprocate. Even if they don't have a whole lot to say, but maybe they do, like, how do we offer energies back to the communities, whether that's, like, offering more money than something is worth just so, like, we pay that forward. Maybe it's offering our time to help with something, and maybe it's just active listening. How do we make these people in these communities feel like they're not side characters, that they are being treated in a way that they want to sustain relationships with the trail?
Yeah, beautifully
like that.
said. Main character energy.
Yeah.
Did you want to get both of them?
Yeah, what's the other?
Oh, the other one is, I hate it when people use absolute trail mile markers on far out. It changes every year, guys. Like, you use northbound or southbound and a certain amount of miles or miles off from the icon, because your information is going to become irrelevant and very annoying within sometimes less than a year. And if it's off trail, if it's significantly off trail, like take 37 paces from the old oak tree, like just give coordinates. Don't make this a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Fair.
Good. Well, like I said, ended somewhat prematurely, but not on the account of it being a short podcast. This is definitely on the other end of that. Fancy Feast, you are a legend. Thank you so much for coming on. For the cheese, like I said, I'll rummage around to see if we can get some Ziploc bags for you.
Yes.
But where should people go to keep up with you?
I'm not very active on Instagram in the posting sense, but I definitely check it. So you are welcome to follow me, DM me if you have questions. That's the fanciest of feasts, all lowercase, underscores in between each word. If you're more of a Facebook person, MJ Davidson on Facebook. I use that platform a little bit less, but like it's great for sharing things that are not of your own creation. That's a little bit easier. And those are the only socials that I am on.
Nice.
Right on.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good to see you. To the Trek propaganda portion of today's show.
Like, couldn't you just put it in your poop hole?
I could have, I guess. A hiker trapped in quicksand on Hayduke Trail. Going back to the Hayduke Trail. Nothing about it seemed unusual or dangerous. This is by Kelly. Hiker was forced. Let me go to the actual article. A hiker was forced to call for rescue last weekend after becoming trapped in a pool of quicksand in Utah's Arches National Park. 33-year-old Austin Dirks was backpacking a 20-mile section of the Hayduke Trail, an 800-mile, largely off-trail trek between Arches, you guys know this part, in Zion National Park, when his right leg sank up to the knee in what had initially appeared to be solid ground in the upper reaches of Courthouse Wash, a canyon in Arches. You can get the full story here, but this was a very experienced backpacker, and he had to get caught in quicksand, unlocking a new fear.
No, unlocking an old fear.
That's true. There is the John Mulaney joke.
That you thought quicksand would be a much bigger problem than it is?
Yeah, for that person, it is the problem that they probably built it up to be.
I mean, I remember childhood thinking quicksand was like a major issue. And I remember playing out by the stream behind our neighborhood, and there was like mud along the stream, and one of our feet got stuck in it. And like the kerfluffle that the neighborhood kids had saying that it was quicksand and like freaking out that we were going to die was like, it was a common thing.
Yeah. I feel like every episode of Looney Tunes, there's at least one quicksand appearance. Like,
right.
It is a big deal.
If anything, mind you, I'm saying this knowing that the story is resolved and the guy's okay. A little validating to see that it actually exists.
For sure. Yeah. No.
But you wouldn't wish it upon anyone.
Definitely not. Though that is an excellent story to survive.
Yeah.
Like the first line in your Tinder bio, are you kidding me?
I survived quicksand. I mean, no one would believe you.
No.
They would just think that you exaggerated a story.
And then you can point them to the article in the Trek and be like, oh, shit, this
point
is
them to Courthouse Wash.
That works too.
Tell them to take a hike.
Question of the day.
Yes. This is definitely yours.
100%. Would you rather have one butt cheek or three butt cheeks? I think this was a friend suggested it per a Instagram video that he had seen, but it is a thought-provoking question.
I have some follow-up questions before I pick.
Okay.
If you have three butt cheeks, do you have two buttholes?
That's the way that I'm picturing it.
If you have one butt cheek, where is the hole?
This is, so the original video, I've seen it recently, the guy is talking about his 6 and 8 year old sons having this conversation, and one of his sons surmises that if there is just one butt cheek, there's not a butthole. But I think that there could be. Why? Like, I'm picturing one, like basically like the underside of a bowl, and then just like tucking underneath in the taint area, just dropping it there. So it's like not ideally placed, obviously. It would make pooping a real nightmare, but you could definitely make it work.
That's kind of how I pictured it too.
Yeah.
Just because you can't just have a hole at the center of like a round cheek.
Because then you got cheeks.
It'd be like an inverse nipple.
Yeah, right. Like a volcano almost.
Some would say. Actually, exactly like a volcano. Yes, nice. Exactly like a volcano.
There's sometimes where I erupt on the toilet and it feels like a volcano, but
my concern with two butt cheeks is how do you know my concern with two buttholes is how do you know which hole the poo's going to come out of?
Yeah.
Is it coming out of both at the same time? Like, is it dividing and going out each, or is there a main hole and a backup hole?
Like an auxiliary hole.
Am I wiping both every time? Is one seldom used? Is it like someone who has a third nipple where they're like, ignore that?
I would imagine that you would develop the muscular control to like be able to flex one butthole versus the other. Like you can sense like, oh, this is a left poop, and like later it's a right poop situation.
But you can't designate the path. You can't be like, oh, this one I'm gonna push out the left. This one I'm gonna push out the right.
It would be a build up, and you'd be like, I have to take a left poop right now.
That middle cheek would be an interesting.
That'd be a nightmare of a cheek for sure.
Yeah.
By Fancy Feast.
I don't really want either. I would need new pants no matter what, because I don't think one butt cheek or 3 butt cheeks would fit into a normal pair of jeans.
It would be cool to just like, you know how pants have the 2 butt pockets? It'd be fun to just have the 1, or I guess 3 would be interesting also, but 1 is especially nice.
3 would be a tough fit.
The middle pocket would be small.
Yeah. Or just like the way you do the fit of the jeans to incorporate a middle cheek while also making them look aesthetic. Because when you have a normal pair of jeans, you get the cheeks, but then you get like the tighter spot where the crack is that make it have that whole rounded out,
you got the seam
nice butt look.
Right.
So are we double seaming and having a middle balloon for the middle cheek?
I think you got a double seam for sure.
That's a hard fit.
Or maybe we just rethink pants altogether. Like we just go.
You're wearing skirts.
Everyone's in skirts for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Which
one
I'm
cheek.
a fan of. I do think one butt cheek makes you have the most slappable ass of all time.
That would be a slappable ass. That'd be like a loaf of sourdough that you just got done doing that thing too.
Fluffing up your pillow. Oof. That's nice. That's good stuff.
Would it be a deal breaker for you? Let's say you were single, Jenna didn't exist, and you were real into this girl, and she was like, before we go further, you should know I've got 3 butt cheeks and 2 buttholes. Would it be a turn on or a deal breaker?
I have to see it. Conceptually, I'd say depend on the rest of the package, but not a deal breaker. No, I would allow it.
Would your chance of taking her home go increasingly higher because of your
Yes.
curiosity?
Yeah, I would like to venture into uncharted territory for sure. Just so many more options, so many more possibilities.
Okay, so would you rather? Let's spin the question.
Well, there's a
Would
difference
you rather
between-
have 1 butt cheek or 3?
I would personally rather have 1. I think the slappability of the ass factor, though I will say the potential with having 2 buttholes and just all the different variation in farts that you could rip off.
Oh my God, that becomes like an accordion, doesn't it?
You could become a full orchestra for sure.
I think I would take 1 too. It just seems logistically less challenging, and 1 butthole to wipe seems cleaner than 2 buttholes to wipe.
They would have to reinvent toilets, or there'd have to be another option, because if it is just directly in the gushal area, toilets as constructed, I think, are not going to suffice. Like it would have to be more.
Pause. Yes, they would.
Think about how much further the angle. I don't think it would
pee
work.
out of my pee hole, and that still makes it in, and that's far higher.
You're making a good point here.
The pee hole is, if anything, with your mental construction of a toilet in this mindset, if I'm sitting down and peeing, my pee is just going over the top seat.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna need a visual. If something about it feels wrong,
I'm gonna need to watch a girl pee.
Yeah. Or guy. It could be guy pee.
No, because if you're peeing as a guy, you're standing up, or you should be.
What I'm saying is I need to picture the 1 butt cheek shitting situation, because something about like the way that the cheek is constructed in line with the toilet seat just feels like the angles are off to me.
I would think you would just lop most of the cheek on the back of the seat rather than
you'd
the
have
sides.
to like lean forward a little bit. So maybe that's part of it. Is like instead of like a toilet seat to be more of like a saddle situation.
How do you think women pee?
Not with 1 butt cheek. That's
I
what I'm
know,
saying.
but if you have a butthole that's centered at the end of your gooch.
But you're disregarding the padded portion being underneath you more, as opposed to having 2 separate seating options on either side.
Oh, so you think that this 1 cheek and the hole is going to take up the entire back of the seat?
I think it changes the trigonometry of the situation. I think with having one butt cheek changes the angles at which you're sitting on a toilet seat, is what I'm saying.
I don't think so. I think if the seat was this, that's your little horseshoe, and your one cheek you just plopped there, your beehole's perfectly primed to just straight down. You just flap it there like a little like the back.
I'm thinking about my gooch right now is pointed at the wall.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
It's parallel with my legs. That's
yeah,
where
but your butthole still points down, right?
Yeah, but we're talking about gooch, not my butthole.
I'm trying to figure out where mine is.
Your gooch is also pointed straight ahead. It's in line.
No, it's not.
It's in line with your.
That's my pee hole.
It's in line with your legs.
No, that's the pee hole points in line with the legs, and then the V hole is pointing down.
I'm thinking single butt cheek. Your butthole is where your legs come together.
No, that's my pee hole and my V hole.
Okay, so it's gonna get crowded down there, obviously, but I think pee comes out at a different ferocity than like a really explosive shit. That creates problems. Like you're never, if I had to pick or if I had to predict the launch angle of my strongest shit versus my strongest piss, I think I've got some explosive twos that are going much more coming out at a higher velocity.
Are you spraying?
When my butt is angry, yes, I will paint a toilet seat in all directions.
That's disgusting.
You've never had that? You've never had like you walk away and you Picasso'd that thing and like there needs to be a toilet brush here.
Absolutely not.
Never? Yeah, right.
When I'm really sick.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not going to be often.
Yeah, but that's not a day-to-day consideration. I'm not reconstructing the toilet bowl to accommodate to that.
I think you have to. I think you have to prepare for the worst case scenario because as it's currently constructed, if my shit stays in the toilet with one butt cheek pointing directly in front of me, it could get bad.
No, I think you take your butt cheek and you lift it up and you put it on the back of the seat. Your legs still sit where it is, and it
You're
just
describing
points
a
the
saddle.
beehole. No, I'm talking. I need a pen and paper to draw this.
All right, somebody listening to this, will you draw the diagram of the single butt cheek shitting dynamics? Yeah. Both as Tron sees it and as I see it, and we'll compare which one.
If you think this is logistically challenging, having two buttholes that are each pointing slightly out is like horrendously more.
It creates problems for sure.
How do you shit on trail if you dig a hole and then all of a sudden the other butthole is getting used?
In my scenario, I think you can control which one's coming out of. So you can angle appropriately.
I'm going. I would rather have one butt cheek, and I don't think my toilet needs reconstructing.
Okay.
But
I'm one cheek, new toilet.
Yeah. How much of this is you just wanting a new toilet?
Very little. I don't like doing home construction jobs. They're expensive and stressful.
Fine.
All right. I feel like this one's you.
Yes, triple crown of mild yet particular icks or phobias.
Maybe this is me. I'm not having anything that matches the chat history. Maybe this is a Rachel? I don't know.
I don't know. It sounds like it could be me. I feel like I could have had an ick or a phobia that could have prompted this, but
I don't think I would say ick, so just based on the title of it alone, it feels like you. But all right, go ahead.
I was hoping you would start.
I can start. This is one that's happened to me a few times recently that is somewhat troubling for me, is at the gym that I go to, a very large locker room. And when it's busy there, my complaint goes totally out the window because it doesn't apply. It's when you go to the parking lot and it's like a third full, and then you walk into the locker room and you can see that maybe 15% of the lockers are actually in use. I really despise the scenario where I finish my workout, I'm coming to change, and then somebody is in the locker directly next to me. Because the way that the lockers are constructed is you can tell which locker is being occupied by which orientation is it standing at 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock. And if it's at 3 o'clock, the locker's in use. If it's at 12 o'clock, that it's open. So that means somebody either isn't aware of how to see which lockers are in use, which is the charitable case here, or the other scenario is, I guess there's two scenarios. The other one is somebody's just not paying attention, which that bothers me in and of itself because, guys, we're naked. We don't have to be ass to ass here. Like, there's plenty of room for us to space out. The third one is somebody wants to be ass to ass. That's a whole other conversation. But I always like. There was a situation recently where this happened, and like I literally just like opened the locker and like moved it to 2 lockers to the right because there was no one else around us. It just is strange. It's like the meme. I don't know if this circulates in the girl circuits quite as much, where it's just an image of like 12 urinals and a guy at one end of it peeing by himself, and then one guy walks across the bathroom to go pee directly next to him when there's a bunch of urinals that he could have peed at. It's the same exact scenario, but worse.
Okay.
So that's my
I feel like if this was mine, I
felt like a Seinfeld episode.
I'm a little like worried about this one because icks and phobias can be so different.
Sure.
And I feel like it could be mine because of the example, which I'll give as one of mine.
Yeah.
But also very different from icks. Phobias and icks I feel like are very different. So I don't know what mood I was in. But dishes soaking in the sink.
Yes. Are you picturing somebody's filled the sink with like soapy dishwater and then they just put everything in there and it's just like now the sink is rendered unusable?
No. Because if I have a dish that's like full of some shit that's like sat there for a bit, I need to soak it to like loosen up the stuff. I just don't like other people's dishes when they have stuff in them and are wet. Like that feels gross. And I don't know why, but I would say that's a phobia is I don't like touching them.
Yeah.
And this has so little to do with icks, and that's why I'm like, I have no idea which way this is going to go. But I
think it qualifies.
I have disposable, like the little like gloves.
Yeah.
Like not the ones that you wear to clean, because also those ones, once they get wet, they're never clean again.
Sure.
Even though they're reusable.
Yeah.
So I have the ones that like doctors wear in
the latex
offices.
gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll put those on to clean things if things feel gross.
Okay.
But I don't like.
You use gloves to clean up even after yourself?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. I just something about wet food that sat dirt, gross.
That is a weird one.
We cleaned last weekend. It was like a big cleaning weekend, and I cleaned underneath like just like a storage area upstairs. And I had long sleeves, long pants. I had my sleeves tucked into these gloves. I had a face mask on from like the COVID days. Like I wanted no scent. I wanted no nothing.
For cleaning dishes, you put a mask on?
Sometimes.
That's
This was a storage area. This was like I was taking out boxes and like cleaning out behind it and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes
do you put a mask on to clean dishes?
No, not usually.
Not usually.
Not usually in that unless it's like somehow moldy dishes, which doesn't often ever happen, you know.
Often or ever. Those are different things.
Sometimes you get depressed and you don't do dishes for weeks, you know. Like if it's one of those circumstances, yeah, that's a little far. But for the most part, it's just like wet food. Wet food just feels weird. I don't know. I don't like it. It makes me feel bad inside. So this was definitely mine because the more I think about it, the more I don't like it.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't like when other people leave their dirty dishes in the sink. But I'm kind of the mindset that I prefer dirty dishes get left on the counter because for me, the sink is a workstation. And if I can't like put the Brita pitcher in there because there's too many dishes, that pisses me off. I want to be able to clean my own stuff. Yeah, I need to have access to the drain and the sink specifically.
I think there's just something wrong with me. Like I've got like a water urn. This is from a Backpacker Radio listener. Remember when they requested that? So I've got that, and I have a pitcher that I fill up with water to like put in that to reheat the water, and it's boiling the water. Like shit's getting clean in there. But I remember I forgot that I was filling up the pitcher in the bathroom sink for a bit, and like the water flowed up where it was like touching the spout of the sink that the water's already coming out of. And I had to pour it all out and start over again because I didn't know like what else has touched the spout, and it felt really gross.
Yeah, I'm trying to rate that. That might be logical, although I feel like sink hardware is probably stainless steel, which doesn't really hold on to bacteria, but I don't actually know. That's me speculating.
I'll go with a totally random different genre. I'll go that was phobia. I'll go ick for this next one.
Yeah.
And we're talking mild yet particular icks. Chiefs fans. If I see a Chiefs fan, there's just a part of me that is a little icked out. You could be the nicest person in the world, but there's still a part of me that will cling on to that and think, I don't like you.
If you're a Chiefs fan in 2026, more power to you.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're going to be going through a rough stretch here.
Good. Everyone deserves one.
I mean, yeah, no one. I don't think anyone feels bad for them. But what I'm saying is this will weed out the bandwagon folk.
Yeah.
I think this will illuminate the true fans.
I think it's also partially I don't like the colors. Like, I was talking about this with someone this weekend where I was like, I don't know why, but I've just never given a fuck about Denver, ever, in terms
Denver
of,
or
like, the
Kansas
Broncos.
City? Oh.
Never have cared. I've never rooted for
Wait,
them.
your ick is the Chiefs or the Broncos?
The Chiefs. But I'm saying, I'm leading to the point. I'm saying, I think it's also that I don't like the colors. Side note, this past weekend I had a conversation about how I just have never liked the Broncos.
Yeah.
And Garrett was like, that's because you don't like the colors.
Mm.
And I was like, that actually does make sense. And I feel like I also don't really love red and yellow together. So.
The Broncos and Bears have basically the same colors.
Yeah, but the Bears lean heavy on the blue and the Broncos lean heavy on the orange.
The old school Broncos uniforms were much cooler. I'm not as keen on the contemporary.
If they were to do like and I know they have different variations, but like a full-time navy with like a just accent orange, I think I would view them more favorably.
Yeah.
But I don't like the orange. So yeah, that's my second ick. Kansas City fans, sorry.
I think that's fair. Their time has come to an end. My next one, apparently I'm going to go gym heavy today. I have a lot of them, but these are probably my top two currently. People who make any noise in the sauna whatsoever.
Ooh, yeah.
I'll give the exception to if you're having a conversation with somebody else in the sauna, that's a normal human behavior. But if you're playing music out loud, if you're talking on the phone, which has happened, fucking insane. And then recently, it was just me and another guy, and the other guy was like breathe grunting. And this is me with my headphones in. I'm listening to, I don't know, podcast music. And I can hear him going, like borderline sleep apnea in the sauna, to the point where I can hear it through beyond the music. I ended up leaving the sauna early just because it was so disturbing to me. You gotta have normal human decency. You can make noise if you're talking to me or somebody else. That's cool. Don't make the sound the sacred space about you otherwise.
I feel like so far these have been very reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm going to piggyback off yours. This isn't going to be one of mine. It's an honorable mention, but it's a piggyback off of yours. And this is one where I'm probably the one in the wrong here, but it's still, I can't help it. It icks me out.
Yeah.
And that's when you're in a yoga class, whether it's regular yoga or hot yoga, and they lead some sort of like breathing during it. And like people actually do audibly breathe.
Yeah.
Like the audible, like,
silent. Yeah.
I don't want to hear that. That makes my skin crawl, and it makes me feel weird and uncomfortable. And I get that they're telling you to do that and you're just following instruction, but I just do it quietly anyway. And I'm definitely in the wrong here, but hearing the people just make those
Yeah.
next to me in yoga, stop breathing like that.
I don't think I've ever been comfortable enough in my skin to breathe at that decibel.
The people who are comfortable enough in their skin, like, want you to know it.
They
want to be the loudest breather in that room.
Yeah.
And I just think about, like, we're in a hot yoga room. We're all sweaty. You are just pushing out sweat air. Yeah, don't do that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, no.
So that's my piggyback. Noisy eaters, specifically in, like, a liquid department. Like, if you are a soup slurper, like a if you make those noises, I hope you don't eat at a table near me, because it really, I would rather hear fingernails on chalkboard, I think, than hear every feeling you're feeling while eating your soup.
I'm not trying to think if no, because just putting the entire spoon in your mouth and then tilting it or whatever.
Yeah, but you don't need to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like
that after noise never needed to come.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so consumed with my own eating. I don't even know if I notice other people's. Maybe I'm the one making noise, but I'm definitely not a soup slurper.
No, you're probably just around like polite people. You know, like, you know when someone makes noise while eating, because it's like, is anyone else going to call this out, or are we just going to sit here and pretend it's not happening?
Yeah.
And the polite thing to do is sit there and pretend it's not happening. But no, I don't like it.
Yeah. Fair. Okay. That's good. Did the first one count for you, or are you going to go with another one?
Where are we in the snake
three.
draft?
No, you gave three. You're right.
Did you give three?
No, I have one more.
I thought you started.
I did. Oh, I should have given 2.
Okay.
I didn't. I'm going to go with, similar to the sink thing, this brings out my OCD a little bit. Any sort of food crust that accumulates on the refrigerator shelf. So I am the more meticulous one in my house when it comes to ensuring that whatever you're putting on the shelf is clean. Like if a little bit falls off the side on a Tupperware, I'm cleaning it before I put it back on the shelf. Not everyone in my household feels similarly about that, but like if we go like 2 or 3 weeks without me cleaning the kitchen shelves, they get like white and crusty, and they have like the outlines of stuff. And like when people put just like a bowl of food that they haven't finished into the fridge, and that's got dripping, like if you can't see through the clear shelf, that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
We don't play that. So I don't complain about it unless we're in a podcast where there's a lot of people who are listening to it. But I'm the person who's like routinely digging all the shit out of the fridge and giving it a thorough wash down, because that bothers me a lot.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. I've recently this year gotten like a lot of cool cleaning gadgets to help keep my hands farther away from the problem and like increase the efficacy of the clean. Like I got this cool scrubber that you charge via whatever, and it has different heads and it scrubs at different speeds.
Is this for
and it's got like a pole attached to it?
Or just for anything?
Fucking anything.
Okay.
Anything I don't want to go near with my hands. And
Yeah.
I just put that near it and I let it scrub. Like we had a sink that the sinkhole got a little gross.
Yeah.
And that thing scrubbed the shit out of it while I wore my gloves and my face mask and stayed far away.
Although I gotta give props to my wife, because she's the one who cleans toilets. So I'm over here complaining about like a little bit of juice spilled, and she's like literally scraping my explosive diarrhea.
Oh man, why?
No.
Why would you make her do that?
First of all, if I'm spraying, I'm always cleaning it down. But for like normal shits, I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting it go.
This is a claim to fame that I hope to keep forever.
Yeah.
I've never cleaned a toilet. I never even knew you had to clean a toilet until I lived with Ball Flap, and one time he got really fucking pissed off because he was like, "You never clean the toilet," and I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Why do you think it looks like that?" I'm like, "Because that's how toilets look." He's like, "You ever been to a frat house?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You ever see how those toilets look?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why do you think that is?" I'm like, "'Cause it's a frat house."
Yeah.
He's like, "Why do you think that is?" I just thought that they just in like day to day stay like nice.
Yeah, you gotta clean toilet bowls. That's but in your defense, I don't. I do if I do a real bad thing to it, but otherwise, Jenna's beats me to it before I would get upset about it.
I would guarantee you probably spend substantially more time in there than she does, which should make it your domain.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you, but she's also more particular about it. So I think it's the exact opposite of I don't think she cares about the kitchen or the refrigerator situation. I care less about the toilet, so
whatever works in your marriage.
Yeah.
It's not going to be me. Honorable mentions, indoor pools, specifically in public gyms. Like if you go to that 24-hour fitness I went to that one time because you told me that guy was there.
Yeah.
They've got an indoor pool. I think I had a friend who went to that gym with me once, and she went in the pool because she likes to swim there. And I think I got a toe in before I just started thinking about sweaty people who just worked out, sweating, and then going in, and the possibility of it getting in my mouth, and just that. But then I thought further on it, and I thought, well, then why don't I get upset about pools at like hotels or resorts? And I think it's because they're outside and like the air can ventilate a bit. And I think in general, my qualm is with indoor pools.
The air circulation.
I think something about just like what could be in the water and the lack of ventilation. Something about an indoor pool just really creeps me out.
I can't think of the last time I've been in an indoor pool, because for me, an indoor pool is exercise, an outdoor pool is fun.
The last time I was in an indoor pool was when we were in Italy. We stayed at the hotel in Milan airport before flying home, and there was an indoor pool, and we brought a bottle of champagne in to-go cups to enjoy at it. And I cannonballed into the pool, and I looked down, and there was something on the bottom of the pool, and I don't know what it was, but it had the appearance of what I could only describe as black maggots.
Yikes.
So I immediately got out of the pool and was disgusted, and I think that locked it in for me. I don't know what it was. It could have been cleaning products. It could have been something different. It could have been a design.
Yeah.
But that's what I saw, and I was fucking gone.
Pools are kind of gross when you think about it, because either what you're describing or like it's over chlorinated, and even still you feel like you have to take a shower after you get
Right.
out of a giant body of water. Like that's not a good sign for the body of water.
But if the
typically
pool's outdoors, I have no issues. I'm like, oh, this is outdoors. We're fine. It's
Yeah.
for some reason, it's when it's inside that I suddenly think it's just like a cesspool of germs and disease.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the sun kills some of the bad stuff. I don't know. But I do feel like I need to shower after every pool, mostly for the chlorine. But yeah, they can be nasty. I'm going to go with wet sleeves after washing your hands.
I hate that.
Like the cuff gets wet, and like if you're wearing something heavy, it just stays wet for a long time. That bothers me a lot.
Oh, I've got one. When someone says a joke, this is for the ick side of things. When someone says a joke that is meant to be funny to a group of people, and you just saw that joke widely circulated on like Instagram as a meme the day before, and you know they didn't come up with it.
Yeah.
They're just regurgitating a meme that was widespread on everyone's feeds yesterday.
Yeah. And there's one person in my life who repeatedly does that. I'm not going to name names, but yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's a little ick.
I always call out when something is from something. Like the whole question of the day was prompted by internet thing, but yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't think either of us are like claiming internet jokes as our own.
No.
We blatantly advertise, we rip these off, but in like a social setting where it's like, did you know?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Also, people who repeat something because they didn't think you hear it. Like someone says something that's like a little cringe or like not funny or whatever, and like instead of like the group gives them the benefit of the doubt of just not responding and continuing the conversation,
Right.
but they think you just didn't hear their funny joke. So then they go out of their way to repeat it, and it's like, not only have I heard you the first time, but now I heard you repeat it. That's
Yeah.
even ickier.
It went from unfunny to awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, at that point you have to lay into the person. You can let the first one go. The second one's like, no, we heard you. We heard you. This is a very particular situation, but repeated sniffling.
Shut up. Is that just because I sniffled? Are you just being a
was
dick?
perfect. The timing was perfect. I'm thinking of a hike I went on with a fella one time, and I swear to God, it was a 14er. The entire way down, like, for hours. And,
Wow.
like, I didn't know the person well enough to say anything, and it ruined my day.
Oh my gosh.
It ruined my day. I couldn't think of anything else. Like, I couldn't think of my steps. There was nothing. The conversation, I had trouble focusing on what they were saying. The sniffles just cut through everything. And, yeah, fuck that.
I guess in that vein, toddlers, a mild yet particular ick. They're just sticky. You don't know where
they're
their
gross.
hands
They're
have been.
disgusting. They're very gross.
They like take your water bottle and just start drinking from it, and you're like, I didn't want to share that straw. And that you have to get rid of it.
Call sparkling water soup. So they now go, I want soup. As soon as you crack one open, they go, I want soup. I want soup. So we now give them full cans of spindrift. But yeah, no, it's very different when it's your kids, because you're just covered. They are covered, and by the transitive property, you are covered in boogers, shit, dog shit, like their shit, dog shit, basically anything that exists that shouldn't be on a person is on them and being transferred to every surface.
I could see it being different when it's your kid, because I can see how I treat Harper compared to other dogs.
Yeah,
in terms
you
of
let your dog like lick your open
I don't
mouth.
like other dogs slobber at all, but
Right.
if Harper like goes to lick my face and gets in my mouth,
Yeah.
haha.
It's
You know?
and like it goes to a different scale when like literally you created the person.
Right.
It's like, this is my genetics.
But if I didn't create you, get your freaking hands
Yeah,
off my
no,
water bottle.
I totally agree. Any other kid's shit is not welcome. My last one, styrofoam.
Ooh, in what context?
The sound of like two pieces of styrofoam rubbing together
Yep.
is nails on a chalkboard for me. So yeah, that can get fucked right in the ass.
Okay.
With two buttholes.
If we want to go for a phobia, I can't remember if it's like a velvet or a velour, but in the context of, you know how they used to use that kind of fabric on like a car seat?
Sure.
My Nana's friend, I don't know. I was at my Nana's one time when I was growing up, and she was going to a hair appointment, and I had to go with her. And we were in some car getting there. I don't know if it was her car or someone else's, but it had those seats that were like that velvet seat texture. And my throat's
you can change the appearance by which direction the fibers are pointing.
It just felt like fuzzy a little bit.
Okay.
And thinking about it right now, my throat is closing up. Something about feeling that texture in like an all surrounding you setting like makes me not breathe. I don't know why it freaks me out so much, but I hate it. And that whole car ride, I remember just thinking like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to die in this fucking car.
Yeah.
How do I get out of it? But now whenever I think of that, and it was a quick drive, whenever I think of that quick drive or whenever I like see a car with that kind of fabric seats, my throat closes up.
Yeah.
Something about that gives me like a phobia of I can't do this.
No, I had one vehicle with fabric seats, and I'll never go back. Especially with kids now, like leather is a must. But yeah, no, the feel of the fabric is bad.
Yeah.
It does just hold on to shit. Cool. Let's do a mailbag. I think we skipped this one in the last episode on accident.
Oh yes. Hold on.
Excuse me.
Wait, what did I just read? Sorry, I think I was on the the Google search for what spam stands for, and the article was written by Gloria Hyman, and that threw me off for a second.
Yeah.
Mailbag. Sushi fish. I know this one. You have to flash deep freeze the fish, and any parasites die. So if you fish up a salmon and eat it raw, the parasites, if present, are very alive. But most of the frozen fish we eat in poke and sushi is flash frozen right on the boats or soon after. From Haley Buckingham Palace.
I think this is from a segment that I did with Jess.
I was going to say, this does not ring a single bell in my brain.
Yeah, we did the Triple Crown of seafood, I believe. And I intentionally didn't put sushi on my list. Although I think I ended up putting poke, which is obviously a contradiction. Because I recently saw a video where a guy was about to smoke a bunch of salmon, and he had put a bunch of rub on it and like let it come to temperature. And as he was going to put it onto the smoker, just like dozens of worms sticking out.
No, I would never look at fish again.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've eaten sushi since seeing that video.
Oh my God, I hate the thought of that.
So I kind of tangentially knew what Miss Palace was referencing here. But there's a lot of trust involved with that. Like, how do you know? There's not like a certification on the fish that's being presented to you that says that it's sushi grade. So you're just taking a leap of faith that hopefully they went through this process for this fish, and you're not ingesting this very traumatizing video that I had to witness. And I'm going to send it to you, and you're going to have to witness it.
No, I'm not going to look.
You have to watch it.
I will not. I won't eat fish ever again. This would ruin it for me.
I can still eat cooked fish.
I wouldn't eat fish ever again.
But knowing that the dead remains of that worm is still in there.
No.
I now cook my fish to all high health. I used to eat salmon like medium rare.
This is like the one time someone told me that in shrimp, if you see that little brown black line in the back of it near the tail, that's the poop. And that hasn't come out yet.
I don't know if that's true, but I think that came from, or at least that's in Tommy Boy.
Well, it's from somewhere, but I can't fucking eat a cocktail shrimp without checking it for a brown line first. Yeah. And if it's there, I can't eat it.
Is that actually true?
I don't know. Because I've thought about it.
Yeah.
And because that thought's in my head, it's like when I took a bite of that blue cheese or the buffalo cheese, and I just couldn't not think puke. It'll just ruin it for me forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to look it up. I want someone to email us to let us know, because this is more fun anyways.
Cool.
So, yeah, you're going to see that salmon video. 5-star review. This is No Name number 1723. Always a good listen, even if you only kind of like hiking. I started listening while trying to figure out how to start backpacking and not carry like 40 pounds of things I don't need. I learned that and kept on listening. The show is just a good listen, and Zach and Chance have a solid back and forth that makes for a fun time. Guests are always interesting and run the gamut of hiker trash, dirt bags, and people that genuinely trying to live the good life. Mr. No Name, thank you very much for your friendly review. You guys can have your reviews right on this podcast. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us any number of stars.
Just not 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Screenshot your review, email us, podcast@thetrek.co, and we will mail you a sticker. I shouldn't be promoting this because I don't know how I feel about it, but I sent a sticker internationally today.
Really?
Yeah. It was to Canada, so it's not quite as international.
Yeah, this is only going to backfire on you.
Yeah. Fuck.
That was very kind of us.
Shit. Piss. Anyways. Thank you to today's title sponsor, LMNT. It's the best. I drink at least one every day. Days that I sauna, I'll have two. The lemonade is the best thing that's ever happened. I was wondering if this would be like a summer only experience for me, but I still think it's my top dog even here in the winter.
It's still my top dog. Easy.
Yeah, the lemonade is it's gonna change your life.
I think the only thing that could ever compete with the lemonade is if they ever came out with a pink lemonade. And I'm saying that to manifest it.
Yeah, we can bring it about. We can bring it about. But all the flavors are good. Big fan of the citrus. The grapefruit is probably right below the citrus, like just a hair below the citrus for me. They're all fucking tasty. But yeah, gear up for your upcoming trail season with some LMNT. We'll ensure that you're staying properly hydrated, and it works in all aspects of life. So use our URL, drinklmnt.com/trek for a free sample pack with your order. And using our URL also helps to keep them involved with the show. And we love LMNT, so thank you for that.
Yep.
Super big thank you to the Chuck Norris Award winners on Patreon. That is Alex and Misty with Navigators Crafting, Alex Kindle, Andrew, Austin McDaniel, Bill Jensen, Brad and Blair from 13 Adventures, Brent Mullins, a.k.a. Cruzy, Brian Alsop,
Fables,
Carl Lobster Hood, Christopher Marshburn, Clint Sittler, Coach from Marion Outdoors, Eric Casper,
The Friendly Ghost,
Eric Hoffman, Ethan Harwell Dunn, Jillian Daniels, Greg Knight, Greg Martin, Griffin Hay, Would You Bring Me a Beer, Haley Buckingham,
Palace,
Jason Kaiser, Kristen Bell, Matt from Gilbert, Arizona, Patrick C. in Seattle, Randy Sutherland, Rebecca Braveheart, Roger Sawyer Product Spam, St. Louis Shaman, Timothy Hahn,
Solo,
and Tracy Trigger. Thanks to our guy, Paulie at Old Man Murph's Coffee Roasters. Go to ommcr.com and get yourself some delicious beans. I just got my beans delivered yesterday. Very excited again. Thanks, Paulie. You can follow us on social at Backpacker Radio on Instagram and TikTok at BackpackerPod on X, Facebook.com/Backpacker Radio. You can follow Chance.
You can find me on Instagram at Juliana_Chauncey, on YouTube at Juliana Chauncey, and you can get my book Hiking from Home, a long distance hiking guide for family and friends on the trek with Zach's either Appalachian Trials or Pacific Crest Trials, and we would both appreciate a review on Amazon if you had extra time and you've already subscribed on YouTube and you're just like, wow, what do I do with my extra time? Got so much of it. Leave us a review on Amazon.
Yeah, we got books. And if we're out of stock on the website, Amazon.
Yeah, if this is after the crowds have come and taken all we've got, Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. Subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on YouTube.
Hi, Internet.
What's up? And that is it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening, and happy hiking.
Bye.
It doesn't affect me.